So yeah, there's going to be more content, more action, more dialogue. There's this really amazing scene between Xerxes and Dr. Niobe where they really start to talk about, mental health and its stigma and these things. And I think you guys are really, really going to love it. It's going to be dope. Okay, I see Ayinde is back.
Here, am I good?
Yes, yes, you are back.
Bro, I don't know what's going on today.
I don't know. The universe is trying to hate on us, but we're gonna keep it going. I was just answering a couple of the questions I saw in the comments while I was waiting for you to get back. Okay. Let's see. There's one more. Okay, Vladden asks, "What are you most excited for after the release?" The most excited for? Man, I'm really excited to go on this tour. I'm really excited to actually go out there and actually start touching the people. I feel like this last year and a half, I've done a pretty good job of building up the presence and the visibility of Captain Zero, but there are so many people that are still unfamiliar with me as a person, like to the point where there's some people I'm convinced that they don't think I'm real. Like they've never seen my face, they've never seen me talk, they've only ever seen like images of Captain Zero. And for the longest time, I wasn't even using like a profile picture that had an image of my face in it. So I'm pretty sure mad people were like, who the fuck is this account that's just like talking about all this stuff? Like I have no idea who I am. So I'm really excited to go on this in-person tour and actually be able to touch the people and meet the people and, show people I'm real and get the hype train for Captain Zero going. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's yeah. We can just jump into the other questions that you had.
Let's see. When will we see the whole short film? Or did you answer that already? Because I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I technically answered that already.
Okay, so where did you leave off? Where would you leave off?
Yeah, I'll just rehash that question again.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just completely forgot the question. That's my ADHD. What was the question?
When will we see the whole short film?
When will you see the whole short film? Okay, so technically, the official release date of this is September 24th. There's going to be a screening at Morehouse College in Atlanta where we're going to be showing the full short film. But again, this month, we're actually working on building out a schedule to do a couple of in-person showings of the full short film in a couple of cities. I know we're trying to get a date here in the city I currently live in Seattle. We're trying to get a date in LA, and then we already have the Atlanta date secured. And then we're trying to see if we can squeeze a couple more dates in there. But September 24th is the official release date of the full short film. I'm not exactly sure where we'll be releasing it, but I know that currently right now that is the planned intended release date. Damn, we're getting more questions inside the comments. I'll answer this question.
For some reason, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, like obviously the camera and everything is fine, but I can't hear you anymore. Give me 1 second.
All right. Hello. Words. Numbers. Captain Zero, Studio Maho, Cutting Edge Animation. Speaking words, saying words. That's a real cool question that we just got there in the comments. I'm going to wait and see if Ayinde can hear me before I answer this other question, though. Man, the universe does not want to see a young brother shine. This is crazy. All these technical and audio issues.
Okay. I can hear everything else, but I can't hear you for some reason.
You can hear.
I just did a test in StreamYard, so I don't think it's me.
Oh, what the heck? That's weird. Okay, let me audio settings.
Yeah, I can't hear you. So
this is
you can hear me though.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
This is okay. Audio. Yeah, it says that. Yep. Says all that stuff is Yeah, that's weird. You still can't hear me.
I still can't hear you. I don't know what
Oh,
it is.
what is happening? They do not want to. Okay, now can you hear me? No, nothing. What is happening? This is
Hold on.
wild.
Let me. Well, no, because I just used Chrome and I could hear everything in Chrome, so it's got to be just StreamYard.
What is going on, StreamYard? StreamYard. Y'all hating on the boy. I don't like this. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to leave real quick and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to see if that works.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Guess we're just gonna be chilling until he get back. There he is,
Okay.
and I believe I can hear you. Yes, I can.
Hear me now.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. God. Yo. Fam, I don't know what's going on today.
I'm telling you, man. I don't know. It's just technical difficulties left and right.
Bruh, it's all right. We're gonna power through this thing, all right? Because I believe in the people in these comments, and I want to answer all of these amazing questions that we're getting. Stream problems suck. I feel you. I feel you, BioBlade 2099. I feel you. Dan, let me answer. We're gonna work this. Hell yeah, we're gonna do this. All right, let me answer these questions that I'm seeing in the comments here. Do you base your art style / animation off of anything, or do you come up with it by yourself? Also, do you mind if I ask questions about the show's continuity? No, I don't mind at all if you ask questions about the show's continuity. However, keep in mind there are certain things that I cannot answer because of the proprietal rights of the fact that we're trying to sell the show. There's certain kinds of things, story elements that I can't tell you because it would go into spoiler territory. So bear that in mind. But yes, I can answer any continuity questions about the show. Your first question was, do I base my art style and animation off of anything? Yes, I do. So I'm severely super duper influenced by all of like the classic old school like animes like Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, even Pokemon to a certain extent. Dragon Ball Z is probably like the biggest. Yu Yu Hakusho, like all of those like classic animes. And then also 90s styles comic books. I know that that's considered like the, what is it? I think Silver Age, the Silver Age of comics. But 90s styles comic books, like if you look at some of the artwork that I've done for Captain Zero, like from 2018, 2017, and you look at the way that I drew his suit, I primarily use like a lot of like blacks, but then I would use gray, like a light gray as a highlight. I would use like a light gray as a highlight. But now if you look at some of the more recent drawings of Captain Zero, I use like that kind of like comic book blue that they use whenever they have like characters that are dressed in black. And I did that specifically because I was looking at some of these classic drawings of Black Panther, as well as like Spider-Man and some of his early iterations. And I love the way that they would use like that black and blue to make it look really cool, especially like on Spider-Man's like the symbiote suit. I always thought that looked really, really cool. So yeah, those are definitely where my art influences come from.
Shoot, even before then, I feel like they used blue a lot just to like make the blacks pop in the in the pages, because you know the coloring was so limited back then that they needed to kind of like have a way to differentiate between the two different colors.
To do like depth, to make it more like dynamic. And I've really always just loved that aesthetic. Like I just put out this new drawing not too long ago because I had to redo the IMDb page cover for Captain Zero. And like that image that I drew of like Captain Zero, like the Depression Demon kind of like sneaking up behind him, like God, I love looking at the blues on that because it just like so vibrant, like super, super saturated. Like I love that. Damn, I'm trying to see some of these comments. Can you? Okay, I think these are just comments about the thing. I love the blue accents and the art style as a whole vibe. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going for. So if you're appreciating the vibe and aesthetic, it means you've got it. But yeah, let's launch into some of these other questions that we have from the actual live.
Okay, where did you start off or finish or
I only answered the first questions that you
just did the first one. Okay. Yes, okay. So, all right.
It's gonna be a long.
We have another question from I don't even know if I'm gonna pronounce this correctly, but it's Serigna.
Oh, Serene.
Yeah. Man, look at me like absolutely butchering that. All right. So, do you think animation makes these complex themes more digestible?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we got this question in the live stream, but I'll answer it again. Yeah, no, definitely. Again, I always say that the greatest thing about the medium of animation is that the only limitation is your imagination. So I definitely think coming from that angle, it definitely makes it more digestible. I definitely think there are certain like themes and topics and things that we'll get into in the show that I think if it was live action, it might be a little like hard to watch, or even certain scenes that just kind of might be impossible to even make, but because it's animation, it lends us a lot of freedom to be able to do that thing. So yeah, I love the medium of animation for storytelling.
Yeah, I think there's just like so much you can stretch with the imagination and animation versus live action. Like, sure, like if you have a huge budget, you can use CGI to stretch the imagination in live action.
Animation. You see what I'm saying?
But even that is animation, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's just live action and we're not using any special effects or anything, you know, it's going to be hard to get like, I mean, obviously you can do the inner monologues and stuff like that, but the image of seeing, you know, like a manifestation of, for example, depression and things like that, all of that is animation, right?
Yeah.
So, because, you know, you have that's something that's in the mind for the most part. So yeah, animation is just such a versatile storytelling medium. You know, you can just do so much with it. It's great. Yeah. BioBlade is asking, what year does Captain Zero take place?
So Captain Zero takes place in the not so distant future. I don't know if we ever give a specific timestamp of when Captain Zero is supposed to take place, but it's in, again, the not so distant future. So it primarily takes place in a fictional city that is in Central Florida, my original hometown. I did this specifically because I always thought it was very weird that in most superhero comic book shows and stuff like that, you have superheroes that are either in California or in New York. And I'm like, fam, if any weird shit was gonna pop off with superheroes or people gaining ability, it would be in Florida. Like
absolutely.
That makes the most sense. So yeah, it takes place in the not so distant future. So, you know, it's pretty modern, but sometimes, you know, you might see things like super high-tech weapons or gadgetry or certain kinds of like buildings or technology that are a little far off from where we are right now, but not too far off. So yeah, that's the time, place in which Captain Zero takes place.
Basically near future.
Yes.
Valden says, can you go into your decision for specifically 2D animation, I guess, as opposed to 3D?
2D animation, man. I grew up on all of those like classic animes, all those classic cartoons. Like some of my favorite television shows are Spider-Man the animated series, X-Men the animated series, Batman the animated series. All of those were 2D hand-drawn animation, and there's something about that hand-drawn feel. Like go back and watch all those classic Disney animated movies and like the movement and how like they moved, and it's just like so beautiful to watch, so visually engaging. And for me, again, like visuals are everything. So yeah, like for me, it was like a no-brainer. I was like, oh, what kind of animation style you want to do for Captain Zero? I'm like 2D animation. I will fight anybody on that. That is the hill I will die on. Like, don't get me wrong, I definitely think there's great, amazing things that are happening with 3D animation. Like Into the Spider-Verse, I think definitely like pushed the boundaries of what you can do with 2D animation. Like they did this really cool thing where they literally invented a whole new kind of technology and software.
They did. Yeah.
Where they blended like 2D and 3D, and you get like these images that kind of look like 2D, but they're three-dimensional. And I thought that was so cool. But you know, Into the Spider-Verse already did that. I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, this person did that, let's do that again. I'm like, nah. So I think while what they did was really, really amazing, and I'll probably make some 3D animated thing in one of the projects that I make in the future. Captain Zero, though, has to be 2D animation. It has to be.
Yeah, I'm the same way when it comes to like 2D animation. I'm always gonna be like, if I have a choice between the two, like, you know, for example, if one of my series ever wants to get animated, I'm 100% gonna be like, I'm sorry, no 3D.
Come on,
no 3D. Like Now, if it's, for example, you know, you guys watch anime and you've seen, you know, stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that, you'll notice that certain studios will use 3D for, you know, background scenes that have a lot more dynamic camera movement and stuff like that. That's okay, right? Like trying to do a whole scene like that in 2D is just so expensive. You know, and time consuming. So yes, like the 3D is good to supplement, but I think for the most part, like that two-dimensional animation really needs to be the forefront. You know what I'm saying? So
like as you're saying that, my brain literally thinks of like the opening sequence of The Hunchback of Notre Dame and that Disney movie, and it has like this crazy like push-pull wide shot of like the city of France, and you're going in, you're seeing all the buildings, and this was done primarily through like rotoscope. They use like 3D animation, but then they animated over it in 2D.
Right.
It looks just gorgeous. Even still now to this day, I was rewatching a couple of months ago, and I'm like, this is the level that I need for Captain Zero, man. So yes, the level of 2D animation is real. And I also feel like, not that it's dying, because there's definitely still a lot of like 2D animation that's still around, but I can see the world is definitely moving towards 3D a lot more, which is kind of the reason why I'm like, I want to hold on to 2D just a little longer.
Yeah. Are you going for a TV 14 or TVMA sort of tone for the show? I'll still watch regardless.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Honestly, that'll probably come down to whatever the studio and distributor says by the time we get to that point. If you're asking me specifically, it'll probably be TVMA. And not to say that it will be filled with, you know, cursing and overt violence, but something that I want to showcase in Captain Zero, like one of my favorite superhero things ever is the comic series Watchmen. And what I love so much about Watchmen is how it grounds everything about superheroes and superheroes existing in our world in realism. And I always found that really, really fascinating. It's, for me, something about Captain Zero is I also wanted to really, really ground the show in realism. Like something that you don't see a lot in superhero shows is like there's two. I remember when I was coming up with like all the things with Captain Zero with a friend of mine, I told them there are two fundamental rules that Captain Zero will always keep that will be different from most animated shows or most animated superhero shows in general. And that is when characters die, they will die for real. Like there's no rebirth, there's no coming back. Because that's a running trope that happens in every single superhero thing. It's like, oh, this person died, but oh, the Lazarus pit or this thing, or oh, this magic whatever. And they come back, and it's like, no. In Captain Zero, the hard rule is if somebody dies, they're dead. That's it. There's no coming back. And I did that intentionally because it's like, that's how you raise the stakes. That's how you actually make, you know, conflict that stays permanent. Because if someone can just come back, it almost kind of undoes whatever repercussions there were because of the death of this person or this character.
Yes. Definitely cheapens the you know, like the feeling that you had when that character died. It was like, oh, they're dead, like for real, right? And then they come back and you're like, what was the point? Like, you all made it so, you know. And I get it, because it's like sometimes you do want that feeling, that like visceral feeling, like, oh no, this, like, the character that I like watching is dead, right? Yeah. Bring them back because they're such a fan favorite. You know, like sometimes it works. A lot of times it's just unnecessary.
I think there's certainly a right way to do it. I definitely think there are creators who have done it well before in the past. That's something that I'm definitely trying to avoid. The other thing is consequences. Like in Captain Zero, everything has consequences. It's not like a hero or a villain of the week kind of show where it's like, oh, this episode starts, he's fighting this villain. By the end of the episode, he defeats the villain, and then that's kind of it. Like next episode, move on. New thing, new situation. No, every single thing that happens from episode to episode, everything matters. Every decision he makes, every bad decision that he makes, the consequences of them, all of it follows him all the way until you get to the very last episode. And all of the things that he's gone through since episode 1 kind of come to a head. So something that was really, really important for me was, you know, really, really driving home those stakes. Like Captain Zero doesn't get away with anything. Like, you know, again, like another classic superhero trope is like, you know, the destruction of city property. and you know, people get blown up, things will get destroyed, but then, you know, next episode or whatever, it's like, whatever, we're not talking about that. That doesn't matter. That didn't happen. Like, not that this would happen in Captain Zero, but this is an example of something that would happen in Captain Zero. If Captain Zero was fighting a villain and, you know, they destroyed this specific part of the city and there was like a bunch of like property damage, the very following episode, you would see people trying to find Captain Zero, arrest Captain Zero, bring him to court, and then charge him for the destruction of city property. And then the entire episode would be Captain Zero in court trying to fight out like this thing. Like, that's the kind of show that we're making, like consequences. Everything he does, there are effects, there are repercussions to it. And I feel like not only does it make for a better overall storytelling experience, but it also feels, again, grounded in realism, because that's the way real life really works.
Right.
So yeah.
Let's see. Would it be safe to assume that Xerxes has white streaks in his hair due to like stress, depression?
Yes. That actually is the case. So if you observe some of the drawings about Xerxes, you'll notice that he has heterochromia. He has two different eye colors. He has one eye that's like blue, the other eye that's like brown. This condition is actually a form of vitiligo, which also causes the lack of pigmentation and melanin inside the skin, which causes like discoloration that can happen like the eyes and even like in hair. There's a more in-depth story reason as to how Xerxes gets the white patch in his hair, and it's actually something that like continues to grow throughout the series and throughout the show. So I don't want to get too much into the story, but it's cool. You'll definitely like the in-show reasoning as for why that happens. And again, like even something you'll notice in the short film, when you see that frame of Xerxes in the window, in the doorway as a child, and he's talking about how he's always felt like, you know, the depression demon has always just kind of been there lurking, watching. If you look at that scene, Xerxes doesn't have the white streak inside his hair. But then when you look at pictures of him older, he has the white streak inside his hair. So there's a really cool in-show answer to how all of that happens and transpires.
We know that Captain Zero has some aspects of your life, but what other characters are Captain Zero or Xerxes based on?
Man, honestly, I think some of the best writing advice that I ever got was, you know, write what you know. So honestly, almost every single character that exists inside Captain Zero is based in some part off of real people that I actually know, real relationships that I've had, real friendships that I've had, real interactions that I've had. So man, even just going off of the primary cast, like I quite literally designed Oblivion and like her 2019 redesign that I did for character. I based that off of Angelica Ross. Like that was very, very intentional. I was like, no, this is the person I want to voice this character. I'm going to design this person after, you know, this human being. Arizona is built off of a lot of different relationships I have, including like my current relationship, like even talking about something that will be really, really prevalent in Arizona's character that I think a lot of people will like a lot. Because again, like I want to tackle so many things in Captain Zero, but also just like the way that we talk and explore superheroes and what superheroism is. So the character Arizona actually has an alter ego that some people could say is a superhero. And the whole thing about Arizona's character is that, you know, she's a disabled, you know, polyethnic Black woman, and being a disabled, you know, Black woman, she obviously has to go to like the doctor's offices a lot and do these various kinds of things. And her whole arc of her character is showing the evils of the medical field. Basically how the police are basically, what's the word that I'm using? What's the phrase that I'm using? My significant other literally told me this the other day. Like, there we go. They just said it on camera. The medical system is basically to Black women what the police are to Black men. That's a very real thing. So it's like I wanted to explore the way that these things specifically affect Black women and how that's like a whole other area of how we can talk about heroism and what people can do and activism in that specific kind of regard. Because, you know, with Xerxes, you're going to get all of the conversations about police brutality, racism, social media, all that. But in every single character, you get these different facets of how their specific live life experience of Blackness affects their life. So when you see Arizona, you'll get all these really cool, interesting stories about how fucked up the medical industry is, how these things happen, how they try to put these certain kinds of systems in place to stop it. So it's really cool. So yeah, like literally every character that that you see on Captain Zero is based off of someone I actually know, real life interactions that I've had. Because I feel like, again, like that's the best way to write. You should write what you know. I would never write or create a character that's based off of something that I don't know or I don't understand. It was also one of the main reasons why it was so important to get someone like Angelica Ross to do Oblivion, because I'm like, if I'm going to tell the story of a Black trans woman, I need a Black trans woman to actually be able to live and speak and articulate this experience. There's only so much research I can do. There is fountain of knowledge in a lived life experience. So it's like, I'm going to pull from people, whether my experiences or other people's experiences, to actually breathe life into these characters.
Balton also asked, is there no episodic nature into the show? It will be totally like serial, you know?
So it is primarily serial. Which means, yeah, every single episode is like continuity. Everything ties into what you just saw before. There are, at least in season 1, there are 2 episodes that you could say are technically episodic. Like they're kind of like slice of life of a specific character. So there's one episode that's just an entire Oblivion episode. You won't see Captain Zero in that episode at all. It'll just be focused on Oblivion and her day-to-day life and what she's going through. And there's another episode that's based on the prison that gets built inside New Troy City. So quick little background. One of the main things that are happening inside New Troy City when Captain Zero kind of first takes his rise is there's this huge influx of hyperhuman crime. So they bring in this billionaire tech lady named Melissa Day to build this private prison that's specifically designed to harbor hyperhumans, because obviously regular prisons can't do it. So when this happens, it's done under the guise of, oh, you know, prison reform, we're going to fix these things, we're going to fix crime. But in reality, what she's actually doing is she's building this facility so she can actually take in hyperhuman inmates and experiment on them and do all these kinds of things so she can make military and medical advancements and all these kinds of things. So that's actually what her real goal is. So inside that episode, you'll actually see what the day-to-day life is like inside the prison. And again, it'll be another episode where Captain Zero doesn't appear at all. Like you'll just see what's going on inside the prison. But even that, everything that you see in those 2 episodes, they still flow back into the main story. Like you're not necessarily seeing something that's completely dejected from the overall arc. Everything that you see does in some way, shape, or form bleed into other stories or other storylines. So
it's basically like take an episode for some character development that you get for this character, you know, take an episode to have it's the same, you know, like flow of time in the show. It's just different side of the city, you know, a different perspective, you know, type thing. So basically completely serial at that point.
Yes. It is definitely serial.
Asking, how long will each episode last?
How long will each episode last? So right now we're going for 30 minutes every episode. We do have plans. I really hope the studio and network lets me do this. We do have plans to have these specials that we want to air in between seasons, because something that happens in Captain Zero is the show starts like right in the middle of Captain Zero doing his Captain Zero thing. Like when the show begins, he's already been Captain Zero for 3 months. And there's a lot that as the show goes on, you'll kind of get some backstory on what he was doing on the 3 months previous, as well as some backstory on the entire city and different characters and how certain things came to be. But I definitely want to do this thing where in between seasons, we have these hour-long specials where we can go and do like deep dives on specific characters and the influence that they've had on the city and the overall world. And I think that would be super dope. So those are supposed to be an hour long, but the show itself, 30 minutes long.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna ask my own question.
Go ahead.
So to piggyback off of that, I know you're saying you're gonna have specials. Do you ever think there would be a Captain Zero like film, like a fully feature animated film?
Yes, yes, 100%. We have 2 thus far that are scheduled. So one that is supposed to happen at the very end of season 4, because the way that season 4 kind of ends off in this way where Xerxes kind of meets this. I'm going in spoilers. I'm trying to be careful. Xerxes meets this bad guy.
Okay.
That's very bad. Who has this personal vendetta against him. So the movie that we actually have planned for that is called Captain 0 Hour, and it's about him basically getting ready to fight this big bad guy, and how he basically needs like everybody that he can call upon's help to do it. You know, he needs Oblivion's help. He needs like who kind of like starts out as like an anti-hero, but then like, you know, over time she's kind of like the shapeshifter. But yeah, so then there's that movie. And then there's a movie that we plan to have after the entire series is over, after season 5. It'll probably come out maybe a year, maybe 2 years after the show itself is done. And that one is called Captain Zero Legacy. And it's like a flash forward into the future.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember you talking about that on social media. You
yeah.
It's going to be kind of like a handing down of the mantle type thing. Right?
Yes. And that movie, I'm actually like super, super excited for. Like, there's so many, like, I can't say shit about that movie because nobody's so
super spoilery. Yeah, exactly.
Spoilery. But what I can say is, just like the title suggests, it's a legacy film. It's about passing down the mantle of Captain Zero far off into the future. You get to see characters that you knew and loved from the show, but they're not older. They're in different fields, different professions and stuff like that. Man, it's gonna be so cool. God, I wish I could say more, but it's gonna be so dope. But yes, we have 2 films planned.
Cool. Okay. How many episodes per season are you aiming for?
For season 1, I'm aiming for 13 episodes. I kind of wanted to keep that consistent all throughout the other seasons, but I actually kind of feel like just the way that the certain storylines are going to unfold, I definitely know for season 1 I want to do 13 episodes. For season 2, for season 2, I was thinking of actually doubling up and doing 26 episodes in season 2. Only because season 2, man, the things that happen in season 2, like, we really need that time to tell that story. And again, like I said earlier, in Captain Zero, when characters die, they die for good. There is no coming back. And there is the main central character that you meet in season 1 who dies in season 2. And I want to give that character as much shelf life as possible so the audience can really, really absorb the effect that they have on the overall show. So I think if anything, season 2 might end up being our longest season just because of what the kind of story that I want to tell. But every other season after that will probably likely be 13 episodes for each season.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think sometimes, that's you just have to do that for some series, and a lot of series get shafted that way because it's like, hey, we only have, for example, the way Disney Plus was handling all of their Marvel Disney Plus shows, capping them at a specific amount of episodes. Right. And it ends up hurting the overall arc of the show when you realize you get to certain episodes where it's like they clearly were trying to fit like 3 episodes of content in one episode. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely am in favor of, if you're gonna give somebody a show, I know there's the whole thing with like, oh, you have a budget, this is only how much you can use type thing. But if you really want the show to do well and you're worried about numbers, because that's a whole nother thing, right? You got to give them the leg room to be like, hey, we need a couple more episodes. We need like, a little more time to tell the story.
100%. Like, when I first initially started pitching Captain Zero, I was telling people that we only wanted 10 episodes in a season. And then as I actually started writing the episodes, currently right now we have 7 episodes of Captain Zero already written for the 13 episode season 1. And it was when I was like planning and mapping it all out, I was like, yeah, we're going to need like 3 more episodes to tell this story effectively. Because again, I didn't want to run into that situation where it's like, I'm trying to shoehorn a bunch of information in like the last 3 episodes or stuff like that. I want it to feel like a good, even, natural, steady progression. And I'm also just a huge stickler on concise storytelling. Like, I like, even when it comes to like albums or like music that I like listen to, I like listen to like concise bodies of work. It's like, if you got an album that's like 10 songs, 13 songs, I'm like, that's perfect. That's perfect. Like just enough to tell the story you want to tell, no room for error. And that's kind of the exact model that I want to use for storytelling. Like even when it comes to season 2 and saying I want a higher episode count, maybe it doesn't end up being 26. Maybe we only end up needing like 16 or something like that. But I want it to be concise. I don't want it to be to the point where it's like, oh, we're going all these different directions. We're telling all these miscellaneous stories of like filler. I fucking hate filler.
Yep. Filler, and then the episodes feel like they're dragging, and you're like, that's when you start losing people.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So concise storytelling, I'm super, super big on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any details you can give on Xerxes' family / home life, or is that
Xerxes' family
spoiler?
I'll try to avoid the spoilers about that. I'll just give you like some general info. So unlike most superheroes, Xerxes has both of his parents. They are both alive. And again, like for me, Captain Zero is about, trope subversion. It's all about like, what are the tropes that exist inside superhero stories in general, or just like animated shows in general, and how can we subvert these tropes in interesting and complex ways? So yeah, that's one of the ways in how we subvert that trope. He has both of his parents. He's the child of immigrants. He is Haitian and Dominican. Let's see. He has a little brother. He has a little brother named Ramses, who he's almost like in constant competition with all the time. Like his little brother is kind of like a child prodigy, and he's kind of always funny enough, even though he's the older brother, he's kind of like living in his little brother's shadow because his parents are always like, "Oh my gosh, Ramses, you're so great." Xerxes is just like, what the fuck? Let's see, what else kind of details can I give about his home life? His family, they own a restaurant. They own a what do you call that? It's like those restaurants on a food truck. His family owns like a food truck, and he works for his family. That's something that he does primarily like after school and on weekends and whatnot. Well, let's see, what other spoiler-free things I can tell you about his family.
About some, I don't know, like basic stuff like age.
Xerxes is when we meet Xerxes is 18 years old. He's a high school senior. He's in his very last year of high school, and a lot of what he's dealing with in season 1, as it relates to like family issues that he's actually having, has to do with that. It has to do with the fact that like he's a senior in high school. He's supposed to be applying for colleges. He's supposed to be at this point in his life where he is making decisive decisions about what he wants to do with his future. And other than being a superhero, he really isn't thinking of anything and hasn't put a lot of like effort into doing anything else. And that's actually something that causes tension inside like his family, because obviously his family doesn't know that he's a superhero. So they're like, what are you doing with your life? How are you going to try to make shit better? Because again, he's the child of immigrants, which I am also, which that also, pulls from real life experience. So that's also something that I wanted to be shown and represented. Like, what's it like being, the first generation child, the kid who comes to America, the land of opportunity, as they say, and, having to try to make something from yourself, your parents who work so hard trying to give and build a better life for you, and how there's almost like this guilt of you have to maximize on this opportunity. Look at everything that your parents have sacrificed to give you what you have. Like, you have to do the best with this opportunity that you're given, and kind of feeling the burden of that. So yeah, that's probably all the spoiler-free stuff I can tell you about it.
Gotcha. Okay. Valden asked, you mentioned music. How much impact will music have on the story?
Oh my gosh, so much. I am a big avid. I mean, honestly, I'm super eclectic. I listen to everything. When I first started getting into like editing and music, honestly, yeah, just editing. That's honestly where like my love of all genres of music really, really started to expand. Growing up in like an immigrant, super religious Christian household, I first was just introduced to a lot of gospel music and R&B and like top 40 radio. That was really the only thing I heard. But then when I started to venture off into listening to music on my own, that's when I started getting to hip hop and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually from there, it would turn to like rock and metal and EDM and all these other different kinds of things. And realizing how so much of these sounds almost kind of work as characters in themselves, and how they play in certain scenes and how they can add and amplify certain kinds of things, emotions, tension that's happening between characters. Something that I really hope that I get to do. This is a fingers crossed manifest moment. I really, really hope that we get the ability to license the Skrillex version of Kendrick Lamar's Humble for the very first fight scene between Captain Zero and Oblivion, because that, oh my god, like that, if you guys haven't heard like the Skrillex version of Humble, go listen to it. It is crazy. It is amazing. There's like this part in it where like he's using all these crazy sound effects. He's got like the sounds of like a minigun, and you can hear the sounds of like the bullet shells falling on the ground, and I'm like, this would be so visually crazy to have in the show. So music definitely plays a really, really big part. We're gonna bring theme songs back. Theme songs are like dead now.
We need some theme songs, man. So now, what I do love is that Marvel is being pretty decent about having some theme songs for characters and them actually being good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm with you 100% on theme songs, man. Like, shoot, what were we talking about? I was talking to somebody the other day about like, I think we were having a discussion about what characters have the best themes in anime, you know, because anime is notorious for characters having some kind of theme, right? And obviously the Bleach #1 theme came on, you know, and I was just like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So yeah, I'm 100% gotta have, like, you know, a really great theme song, especially if it's a you know, a hero type show. You know,
yes, that's that.
Something that the audience can remember, you know, and like you want to play the theme outside the show. You know what I'm saying? It's just that good. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, the Captain Zero theme song that was written and performed by Derek Paul, a really great friend of mine. He wrote this. God, I don't know how many years ago it's been since he wrote this song, but bro, I literally remember the day that he made the song like it was yesterday. He was like, bro, like, I'm working on the song and I want to write it from your perspective. He was like, I want to create this song that basically embodies everything that you've told me about the way the depression has made you feel and how you've dealt with it and how you've like overcome. And when he showed me the song, I was floored. I was literally blown away. At the time, funny enough, it was just going to be a song that we used on the Captain Zero soundtrack. But when I heard it, I was like, bro, this is the theme song. This is the theme song for the show. This is what people need to hear every single time they turn on Cap Zero. They need to see this. So Who I Am by Derek Paul, you can listen to it on all streaming platforms right now. It is fucking amazing. And then when we animate this and you see the animation that we put over the theme song, it's going to be crazy. But yes, we're bringing theme songs back. Music is super, super important. I'm actually working with a couple of people to possibly, again, there's another fingers crossed manifestation moment, of getting a couple of like artists, a couple of like well-known artists to come together and actually do the soundtrack, to do something similar to what Kendrick Lamar did with the Black Panther soundtrack. Like, we're definitely looking to do something like that with the Captain Zero soundtrack. So definitely be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be super dope.
Cool. All right. Any details you can share about Alyssa Day's father?
Alyssa Day's father. Damn, somebody's digging into the files right there. That's someone who's been keeping up with the show, who's seen me post a couple of things. So Alyssa Day's father, Augustus Day, is actually, you could say that he's the scientist responsible for Project Zero, which is the, oh man, I'm definitely straying into spoiler territory.
I was about to say, yeah, hold on now.
So basically, you could say he is the guy who is partially responsible for why hyperhumans are a thing. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that I was about to say, that's enough information right there. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. We got your biggest fan apparently is here. Shout
out to you.
BioBlade says, "What's Captain Zero's power set, and how did he get his powers?" Definitely, probably some spoilers there. I'm assuming.
So this is actually not super duper.
Not too spoilery. Okay,
not too spoilery. So something that is interesting about Captain Zero and his world that, you know, people find out like outright when you see like the very first episode, is so all hyperhumans in New Troy City, they only have one power and ability. Xerxes has 3, and that's the thing that makes him kind of unique, at least to him in his mind. His powers and abilities are he has accelerated healing, he has super strength, and he has heat vision. So yeah, that's a
All right, cool. And I'm assuming where he got his powers from is probably spoilery.
Yes, super duper spoiler.
That's what I thought. That's what I was referring to when I said it might be spoilery. The second half of that question.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. We definitely answer that question though, because something that I love about Captain Zero is it's more than just, you know, a superhero show and we're showing like powers and stuff like that. There is so much about Captain Zero that actually specifically infuses Black history. Like, man, I can't say all of the things because it's going to be spoilery. Right. But there's like quite literal like Black history, things like Black people that have done noteworthy things that have happened to Black people in history that we remix a little bit and put in Captain Zero, and it's for that express purpose. There's lots of people that are unaware of these certain kinds of historical things and events that have happened to Black people or to a Black person that is noteworthy and that so many people don't know. And I wanted to very intentionally kind of sprinkle these things in there to kind of pique people's curiosity, to be like, oh snap, I didn't know that. Is that like a thing? And then look it up and be like, oh shit, that's a real thing. Like that really happened. So yeah, you'll definitely see a lot of that in Captain Zero. So when you get to like how hyperhumans became hyperhumans, the origin of all that stuff, it delves into a lot of like Black history, both like in the past and modern recent history. So I think audiences will really, really enjoy that.
Ooh. Okay. Next question. Does Captain Zero have PTSD or schizophrenia?
Captain Zero definitely has PTSD. He does not have schizophrenia. I know that this is going to be something that people say a lot because of the way that we depict his depression, because it is something that is only visible to him, that he's seeing, and he has like these isolated moments where it's just him and his depression demon. They're talking back and forth, and then we'll cut to like him, you know, sitting at like a dinner table with his family, and they're all looking at him. They're like, "What the fuck is happening? Like, what's going on?" Right. So I can definitely see how some people will be like, is Captain Zero schizophrenic? But no, he's not schizophrenic. That is just the specific way in how we showcase how his mental health issues are affecting him. I wanted to be able to give viewers a window into the mind of someone who's actually dealing with mental health issues. So the way that we personify his depression demon definitely looks like schizophrenia, but it is not schizophrenia. But that's
it's more so just like that inner voice.
Yes.
And not like an entirely different persona
yes.
of the same person, right? Yeah. Okay. When was New Troy City established and who founded it?
Y'all trying to ask all the spoiler questions. Man, when was it established? I'm trying to see if I can even answer that question.
Well, you did say this takes place near future, so like
near future, so I can't even necessarily give you a specific year when it was established. Just know that so Xerxes is 18 years old. The city was established 20 years before he was born. So if that's any indication, that's when the city was established. And who founded New Troy City? That's like a super duper spoiler.
I figured that was spoilery. Yeah,
I cannot give you the answer to that question, but it is a question that we answer. It is a question that we answer in the show and in the series. And when you get the answer, you will be like, "What?" It's gonna be awesome.
Okay. Sean Bennett says, "Love that it'll be fusing Black history. Kinda like the MCU. Is Captain Zero going to have science-based explanation for his powers? And how'd you come up with that?"
Oh my gosh. Yo, shout out to Sean. Thank you, Sean, for asking that question. But yes, most definitely. So I actually, this is maybe about like 3 years into working on Captain Zero. There's a character named Antimatter. And as his name suggests, he's a scientist who specifically works with antimatter particles. To not delve into too much spoiler territory, basically something happens to him where his entire body ends up disintegrating and he becomes antimatter particles, and the only way for him to sustain his life force energies, he has to literally encase his body inside like this suit. I had to do like 6 months worth of research about antimatter particles and how they work and, you know, what it's like. And then doing all of that like led me down like this black hole, literally, of finding out like all like this super crazy information about all that stuff. So yes, all of the powers and abilities are explained through science. I actually have like this book that I bought that is called like Superheroes in Science, Superheroes in Science Explained. And it basically is a book that like a bunch of like scientists as well as like comic book writers came together to collaborate and write, and basically it's how they explain how superpowers could be explained in like real, like a scientific kind of way. So that's really cool. So yes, that is something that is explained on the show. A non-spoilery answer I can give you about the way that most powers work for hyperhumans is it's almost like flexing a muscle. I think Invincible also used the same kind of analogy of explaining how powers work. So like, for example, like Captain Zero using his super strength, it's like flexing a muscle, like holding up a weight. You can really only, even if you have like super strength, you can really only do that for a certain amount of time before you will start to feel the weight of that. So it's almost kind of like flexing a muscle. And the same with like body training. Obviously, the more you work out, the more you train, the stronger, more athletic you are. So, you know, the more that you train with your specific power or ability, the better you are at being able to use it. The less you train with your power or ability, the less control you'll have over your ability to use it. So it kind of works like that.
Very cool. Okay. Bioblade says, do hyperhumans exist in other parts of the world?
No, hyperhumans are actually only specific to Florida, and there is an in-show reason explanation for that and how that happens. It all has to do with how hyperhumans are made. But yeah, they only exist in Florida. And again, kind of like I was saying earlier, it's kind of like I always felt like, man, if superheroes were to exist anywhere, they would exist in Florida. Florida would be the place where they would exist. So yeah, they actually only exist in Florida.
I'm going to piggyback off that question for myself. Does the show only take place in one specific area? Like, is it isolated to a specific area? Because I know you're saying all of the hyperhumans are native to Florida. Does the show travel outside of that area to tell any parts of the story?
So we primarily stay inside New Troy City, but there are different excuse me, there are different places in New Troy City which we will travel to. So there's like central New Troy City where most of the show will take place. That's where Xerxes lives. That's where Daisy lives. But then there's like the south side of New Troy City, where that's where a lot of so I still haven't come up with a specific terminology for it yet. But basically, there are hyperhumans who, because of their, you know, genetic abnormalities, don't pass. They don't look human, and they can't conceal their abilities. They very much so look like otherworldly beings, and they were basically shoved and pushed to the south side of New Troy City, where, you know, like the poverty rates are high, the crime is high, all that kind of stuff. So we do explore the different factions of New Troy City, and we get to see how all of these different places kind of like play off of each other and stuff like that. So we do explore the world, but it does primarily take place in Florida, in New Troy City, but we get to explore the different parts of New Troy City.
Okay. Little Alone asks, what kind of music does Captain Zero listen to?
What music does Captain Zero listen to? Captain Zero probably listen to a lot of rap music. He probably listen to a lot of the music that I listen to. He's definitely listening to Kendrick Lamar, to Joey Badass, to Griselda. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
He's just listening to.
Okay. Are you aiming for a late 2022 or an early 2023 release date?
We're actually probably looking at we're probably honestly looking at an early 2024 date, to be honest, because the way that things are moving and progressing right now, again, fingers crossed, manifestation, ancestors, I hope you're listening. The goal is to get into production by the end of this year. Production for Captain Zero will likely be about a year and 6 months, which will bring us right into, like the middle of 2024, it looks like. So
summer.
Yeah, like summer 2024. Ideally, I would actually really like to release Captain Zero on Black History Month. I would actually really like to release it in February, but that means we would have to like delay it another like few months so we could come back like 2025 February, but that's also like mad long.
You know? Hey, but you said a year and 6 months. You might be able to make that Juneteenth.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
That's facts. That's facts. We do a lot of Juneteenth releases, so that's very, very true. So yeah, definitely. I'm personally aiming for 2024. That's the number that I have in my head, the date that I hope to keep. But yeah.
Okay. Let's see. How much variety are you planning on giving the powers of hyperhumans?
Oh man, like all kinds of variety, and we get very, very obscure, like something that actually doesn't happen in a lot of like most superhero mediums and stuff like that. Like they give people really cool powers. Something that will exist inside the hyperhumans that you see in New Troy City is that they have all kinds of an array of powers, even powers that aren't necessarily like cool, like someone with the ability to like telekinetically speak to doves, but like that's it. Or like someone who has like laser vision, but not actual like laser heat vision, like laser pointer vision. Like it's just a laser pointer. You
can just look and point at things. Basically.
So like, yeah, you get like all kinds of different like variety of powers in the show. So it'll be really, really cool.
Okay. I have a personal question that I would like to ask. I say personal. It's not personal like about your life. I'm just saying it's me asking the question. So I know, like, obviously the main project is the animated series, right? Do you have any like plans to expand into other media? Like, do you want a Captain Zero comic book? Do you want a Captain Zero video game?
Listen, yeah, you're asking all that. Oh, listen, 100%. The IP of Captain Zero spans far and wide. There are so many things that I want to do with Captain Zero, so many ideas that I have. There 100% is a video game idea in the work. There's a shoe collaboration thing that I want to get off the ground, because that's something that's like real integral to Captain Zero's character. The fact that he has like these custom shoes that are made in his suit, like I want to make that a real shoe that people go out and buy. Man, definitely comic books, feature films like we were talking about earlier. Yeah, man, the world of Captain Zero is going to be ever expansive. There's going to be so many things. Oh my God. I got to give a special shout out to my friend Chanel. We definitely plan to do a Captain Zero makeup palette collaboration, and that's super, super dope. But like, yeah, there's gonna be so much Captain Zero stuff that people see once we get the show off the ground.
Valden says Captain Zero Cheerios.
Listen, you might have said that as a joke, but I have for real life plans of a Captain Zero cereal. Okay, it's called Zeros. Okay.
Hey. Okay.
Little circles, and they're gonna have the slash in it, like the zeros with the slash.
Yeah.
Strawberry flavored. Listen, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be the #1 cereal that everybody wants to get and buy. It's gonna be we're shutting it down on all areas, all aspects. Captain Zero's coming for fucking everything. Like, it's to the point where people get sick of it. They're gonna be tired of it. They're gonna be like, oh my God, everywhere I go, just Captain Zero this, Captain Zero that. Yes.
You gotta have me in the room when they do the product testing. They put out the first bowl. You get to taste them.
Yes. And the commercial we dropped for the Captain Zero cereal commercial.
Yes, absolutely,
bro. It's gonna be like the Breakfast of Champions,
right? Yes.
Oh God, it's gonna
be the next Wheaties.
It's gonna be amazing.
All right. Bob Blade says I've never needed anything more in my life. Oh, I skipped a question. Who is the best friend of Captain Zero?
Daisy Kiangazi / Butterfly Girl. That is his best friend. She's also a superhero. She's not a hyperhuman. She doesn't have any powers and abilities, so she's similar to like Batman, Iron Man, kind of. Also in the sense that she's also wealthy. Her father is like, this black multimillionaire. He has this tech and manufacturing company called Alacor. And that's his primary friend, best friend, and like confidant. They're like super, super duper duper close with each other. The way that we actually frame it in the show is Daisy, as Butterfly Girl, actually does a far better job at modeling what a good superhero is supposed to be. And that's actually another thing that you'll see explored a lot more in the show, seeing their relationship dynamic and having the whole thing of like, you know, he has powers and abilities and she doesn't, but yet and still she's the person who actually does a better job of doing hero things, being a hero, showing up as a hero. And he actually learns a lot from her. And she's kind of like a mentor to him in that kind of way. But I think people are really going to love watching the dynamic between Xerxes and Daisy, because something we don't get to see a lot very often is a good male and female relationship that isn't romantic, that is just purely platonic. Another thing that's also an added thing to that, Daisy is a lesbian. So I also wanted to completely, because I know they're going to do it anyway, because, you know, once the show comes out, you know, it's rule 34 of the internet. Like if it exists, there's going to be a porn version of it. So I know people are going to do all kinds of wild things. They're going to make, what do they call those things? Fan fictions. And they're going to make characters get together and stuff like that. But something I really wanted to show inside the show is that, like, yeah, a guy and a girl, they can be friends platonically, but also like Daisy's a lesbian. So it's like, I'm really trying to kill the idea that they would ever get together. Like, this is not happening. This is a purely platonic relationship. But I think people are really, really going to love seeing the dynamic of them together and watching them.
Okay. And I'm still talking about this question before I go back a little bit, because there's a couple of questions that are not about this. But Valden asking you say her last name again.
Oh, Kiangazi.
Kiangazi.
It is African. Yes.
African name. Yep.
Leader.
Nice. Okay. And what is her ethnicity? Well, I guess we already kind of answered. Well, kind of.
Well, Daisy is polyethnic. She's polyethnic.
Okay.
Her father is black and her mother is white.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Are there any punk/rock characters in the show, I guess, that have that?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, first of all, like Oblivion. Like
I was gonna say, yeah.
Oblivion is definitely hardcore, like punk rock. You're definitely gonna get all of those vibes with Oblivion for sure. There's definitely gonna be a couple of other characters that you see that have a similar kind of aesthetic, but if you're talking like lead main cast, Oblivion for sure. And something that we're gonna do in Captain Zero, that, you know, also doesn't happen in a lot of animated shows. The characters, they change outfits every single episode, just like they would in regular thing. Like that's gonna be a thing.
Yes.
So when you see Oblivion, all her different like outfits and shit like that, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, you're gonna love it.
That's one thing I wish more shows did, or more series in general. Like,
yes,
the whole, like, your whole wardrobe is just the same outfit every day. I can't do that, bro. I gotta have, you know, and that's one thing. I know it's not in the show. I'm gonna reiterate that I love Bleach. Bleach is one of my favorite animes of all time. I love when characters have different outfits and the creators draw them in plenty of different outfits. Even if they don't show up in the show, I would love if they did, because sometimes they do, but most of the time they're not, because you know, you gotta stick with the, you know, the uniform, right?
Yeah, consistent like theme of it, whatever. Like there will definitely be outfits that certain characters will be known for wearing. Like, for example, because, you know, Daisy's father works at that tech company Alacor, and she also kind of works as, you know, his assistant in that company. Very often you'll see Daisy in like an Alacor t-shirt, but she's gonna wear a bunch of other things too as well. Like, or for example, like Xerxes, something that you're gonna see a lot of is like that bomber jacket that he has. You're gonna see him in that a lot, but you'll also see him in different things, in different clothing, or just t-shirts, or times where he's not wearing the bomber jacket at all. So yeah, that was also something that was really important for me for the show. I was like, bro, the characters gotta change clothes, man. We gotta do that.
Absolutely. Yes. That's another point of like realism, right? Like, you're not gonna wear the same outfit every day. Come on, man. Unless you washing it every day and that's all you got. Like, no.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Going back up just to wait. Did I already get that one? I did get that one, I think. Yeah. Okay. What is Xerxes' religious beliefs?
Xerxes is agnostic. That actually falls a lot into the things that he's dealing with, especially like in season 1. Xerxes is very much so a kind of person who's like, I don't know, and I don't necessarily know if I want to know. He's just kind of like walking around in like a hazy kind of confusion. And religion is definitely something we talk about in Captain Zero, because I thought it would be, there's no way we're going to do a show where we talk about, you know, mental health the Black community, and we don't also talk about religion. His parents are very religious, specifically his mother. And there is an entire conversation that's had about how he's trying to talk to his mother about mental health and how she's kind of using spiritual bypassing to kind of be like, oh, nah, I mean, like, that's not, but like, just give it to God, give it to Jesus. So, those conversations are definitely had. But yeah, I would say in terms of his religious beliefs, Xerxes is like agnostic. He's kind of like, I don't know for sure if there's a God. I can't say if there is or isn't. I just know I exist, and I'm just trying to get around and do what I can.
Just navigating life. That's all he's worried about.
But he definitely has experiences that some would call, not necessarily like religious, but like spiritual experiences that are like, whoa, this is otherworldly. This is beyond some of the things that I know or understand about the world and the way that it works. Because I think just storytelling in general, like catharsis is a very, very important feeling for audiences members to feel, to have a feeling that feels like this is more than just watching a show. I feel like I'm having an experience here. And I feel like that's what religion does for a lot of people. So there will definitely be moments like that in the show.
Cool. Okay. Will the episodes be released on YouTube?
That I can't say definitively. I know that the way that we're going about selling and packaging the show right now, the plan is for it to be on a streaming platform and or a network. So if that is the case, then no, it likely won't be on YouTube. But then again, with the way that they package things and stuff like nowadays, I don't know. There could be a chance that maybe we do like, hey, you can watch episode 1 of Captain Zero on YouTube, but the rest is on the specific streaming platform. So that is to be determined, but more than likely, it is going to be on a streaming platform or network.
Ooh, okay. What is the fashion of Captain Zero specifically? I'm guessing that you're at. Because there's a follow-up question. Does he like leather jackets? So I'm assuming we're just talking about Xerxes here.
I guess. Yeah. What is the fashion of Xerxes? Xerxes is definitely like modern, contemporary streetwear kind of fashion. These are the kind of clothes you'll likely see Xerxes in. Does he like leather jackets? You'll probably see him in a leather jacket, probably at least once. I know something that I wanted to do stylistically. It's like a mini spoiler that I'll give just to you guys here that are watching this video. Something that I want to do visually with Captain Zero is I want to show the progression of how his depression is affecting him with his wardrobe. So you'll actually see from episode 1 all the way until you get to episode 13, things that are happening with his wardrobe, whether it be him not being as tidy, not being as clean, to quite literally his clothes getting like darker to the point where like by the time you get to like the last 3 episodes, he's almost always just wearing black. To show like a gradual, a visual representation of what's happening to his mental state. So that's something that you can expect to see in the series as well.
Very cool. Okay. Let's see. Question on Oblivion. Her power, can you explain it a little more? It's more so on the increased strength. Where does the color change come from?
Okay. So again, like I was explaining, there are certain hyperhumans who, because of their specific kind of mutations, it does things to their body that doesn't allow them to, kind of like quote unquote pass. Oblivion actually exists in this very intersection of hyperhuman where she can like for lack of a better term, pass as like a regular kind of person, and then henshin into her Oblivion form where she's like 8 feet tall and blue and all that. So yeah, her specific powers and abilities are super strength and everything that essentially encompasses with super strength. So she has, very, very invulnerable skin. She has very, very high like endurance. She's very, very agile, all those kinds of things. But even that kind of gets answered in the show. And that even piggybacks off of the whole thing of how there are other hyperhumans who can't do that, who like other hyperhumans, like their skin is just blue and they have like scales that are poking out of their face. And it's like that all the time and they can't turn it off. And even that is a conversation that's had with Oblivion and other characters that are like that, and even Captain Zero.
Nice. Okay. Going back to Captain Zero, how fast is his accelerated healing? Does he have like an enhanced metabolism? Can he regrow limbs and organs? Like,
he cannot regrow limbs and organs. If he gets it off, it's cut off forever. It's gone. His accelerated healing is more like Spider-Man's accelerated healing. It's not like Wolverine's. It's not like, oh, you cut him and then instantly he's like healed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's more like you cut him and he'll bleed for a few minutes and then it'll like stop bleeding and the wound will like scar up a little bit. It won't completely close. It's like that.
So slightly accelerated healing.
Yeah, like slightly accelerated healing. But yeah, no, he cannot regrow limbs or anything like that. Yeah, if he gets his arms and legs cut off, that's it. He's done.
Or maybe it would grow back like a lizard. But it would just take a really long time, right?
Like a real long time. That'll be so hard.
Like he gets it cut off in season 1 and he doesn't get it back till season 4.
That would be hilarious.
Wow, it finally grew back. Okay, so let's see. BioBlade says, please say you'll release all the episodes of a season at once. I'd be willing to wait till 2024 if that's the case.
Here's the thing about that. Again, it's really contingent on the platform that we end up going on. However, me personally, I kind of want a weekly release for Captain Zero, to be honest. Like, I definitely know that, the binge model is what lots of people are accustomed to. But just because of the kind of story that we're telling, in all honesty, I don't want to release it all at once. I don't want people to just be like, all right, Captain Zero's here. Let me watch it all tonight. Like, I really want people every week tune in to see what's happening, to see the progression of the character. So me personally, I like the weekly model. If I am able to get my way with whatever streaming platform or network we end up on, that will be how I would want Captain Zero to be released weekly.
I'm in the same boat. I like the binge model is cool because for the consumer, it's like, yay, like I got all the episodes, I can watch it at one time, right? But for the creator, it's more so like, when it's week to week, you get that anticipation. Right?
Also,
the next episode.
I also don't want the thing of like, we drop it all and then, like literally a day or 2 days later, they're like, that was amazing. When's season 2 coming?
When's the rest? Right? Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I'm like, yo, it's gonna take us another year and a half, 2 years. So I really want to prolong the thing. And also, again, just because of the nature of the show, so many of these episodes are meant to be conversation pieces. So I'm really interested to see what the timeline is going to be saying from episode to episode, because there are things that happen in each of these episodes that are like, whoa, oh shit, like I can't believe that happened. And I want there to be a conversation around it. Like, again, like piggybacking earlier about we were talking about religion, that episode, like there's a whole episode that specifically talks about religion and mental health and the Black community. There's a whole episode that's just specific about that. And that is a conversation that I want to exist on the timeline. Like, I want people to be like, yo, this episode of Captain Zero was talking about spiritual bypassing, and this is very, very important. And to see the conversation that forms around that. So like
I think, because I think sometimes when you have a show that's bingeable, and like everything is out, some of those conversations that are in the show, it takes a while for people to get back to them because they've already watched the entire thing. So like later on, people get to them and they're like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize like, this was, as important as it was, or I didn't really catch that because I was too busy trying to get through the whole season. Right. So yeah, I like the whole, week to week. Even though I'm on both sides a little bit, but from a creator standpoint, I'm definitely like, yes, like one episode a week. You get to talk about that episode for a whole week, and then the next episode comes out. I
really want people to live with it, live with the show, live with the character, live with these themes that we're talking about for like a week. So yeah.
Okay. BioBlade asks, where do you get the funding for the show?
So you might be asking two separate questions here. If you're asking about the short film, we were able to get the funding through this amazing group of Black creatives called Chromatic Black, and the Ida B. Wells Disrupting the Master Narrative Funds. They're the ones who were able to put up the money for us to be able to make the short film. They're an amazing group of Black people that span film, television, like mental health sectors, like communications. Like, they've got so many different people from so many different like areas and avenues that come together to help Black creatives tell and create stories. So that's where I was able to secure the funding for the short film. If you're asking about the funding for the show overall, that is likely either going to come from a third-party investor or the distributor that we end up going with.
Right. Okay. Valden asks, are we getting that previously on Captain Zero at the beginning of every episode?
Previously on Captain Zero. You definitely get cold opens every single episode of Captain Zero. We definitely open up when it's like, ooh, this thing to like set up the episode. Will we get a previously on Captain? Damn, that's a good ass question.
Because now it's like, it sounds kind of good, right?
It does. Now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm like, should we open up with the previously on Captain Zero? That's you really got the gears turning now. I've never really thought about that before, but I've always loved that. And again, like I grew up on all those classic cartoons, so like that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
I just might have to. I just might.
Maybe if you don't end up going with it, you do like how some of the TV shows will do when they do the promo for the next episode and they do the previously on this.
I had a conversation with my significant other about this. I actually really hate those.
You hate the promos?
I feel
like sometimes they just show too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I low-key dislike it, but my significant other was telling me about like, there actually is a pretty good valid reason as to why, they have those, especially like if you're someone that's like coming in and just like seeing and just kind of like want to catch up. Like I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I don't know. We'll really just have to see what ends up on the cutting room floor and what ends up working best. We'll probably do like, knowing me, we'll probably do like multiple different versions. Like they'll be like the show that people get. Like I'll have like 5 different versions of the show that I'll have like personally with like different intros, different outros, different like things in the beginnings. So yeah, we'll just see. We'll see whatever.
You're gonna be like when they have like several different cuts of something. You got the theatrical cut, then the director's cut, then the final cut, then the
Yes, 100%. That will definitely be like, all of my homies will be able to come to my house and be like, yo, do you want to see the extended cut of season?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Okay. The conversation and the shelf life. What do you think about a batch of episodes, or has that been considered? I guess like how like drop a part of a season, I guess,
That's a good question.
I feel like sometimes for me personally, it depends on the story arc for that season, right?
That's what I'm saying. I was just to say I could see doing something like that for certain seasons of the show. So for example, without getting too spoilery, in season 3 of Captain Zero, there is a radical perspective change that happens. For something like that, I think a model like that actually might work, to be like, hey, here are the first 3 episodes, here are the next 3 episodes, here are the next 3, and then here are the next 3. I think something like that could work for that season in particular. But for season 1, I really want that weekly release. But I could definitely see the episodic batches working for certain seasons.
Yeah. Because I feel like some seasons it's like if the story arc is very long and it has multiple parts to it, then it's easier to chop that season up into those parts, and they're digestible, as each part, right? And you're not really like, dang, like it feels like something's missing, right? You get like a whole contained arc in that batch that you dropped, and then you get another arc in the in the next batch. So it can work either way. It just depends, Let's see. Are you gonna have a Discord for fans to communicate on?
I mean, I can now. Definitely for sure. Audience engagement is super, super important, especially for a show like Captain Zero. It is very much meant to be a conversation piece. Every single episode, like with the creator like me, you have to know like everything is intentional. Everything from the colors you see to the name of characters to the designer, everything is very intentional. So even when it comes to the conversations and the topics that we talk about, and I want them to be talked about. So definitely for sure. If we get like a Discord going for like fans, like when new episodes drop, for people to come in and talk about the episodes and talk about how it made them feel and whatnot, like I would love that. That would be awesome.
Cool. All right. Let's see. We have a question from Derek. This is a YouTube question. Is there anything we can do to help the growth of the show? And I guess they had 3 questions. So answer that question first.
Is there anything you can do to help with the growth of the show? Yes, you can. There's a free way and there's a paid way. I'm going to give you guys the free way first because I know how y'all guys be. The free way that you can support Captain Zero is by following us on all of our social media platforms, by liking and retweeting our posts when we post about something, sharing our images, just spreading the word and making sure as many people as possible see Captain Zero. Now, the monetary way that you guys can help with Captain Zero, you guys can go to my website. I believe the link is in the description. Yours should also be in there too. If not, I will definitely fix that when the stream is over. But you guys can go to my website, lamarcherami.com/merch, and pick up some merchandise, man. Like that definitely, it might seem very like innocuous, like, oh, whatever. But like, I'm not literally just telling you guys to like buy clothes. Like it's quite literally like all of those funds will help us get what we need to get the resources to continue to do everything that we're doing, to help with planning the recent tour we're getting ready to go on, all of those kinds of things. So that's one of the major ways you can help support us. And also for the next 3 months, we've actually even partnered with NAMI, a mental health organization, so that 30% of all of our monthly proceeds are actually going to individuals and families struggling with mental health issues. So when you buy merchandise from us for these next 3 months in promotion of the Into the Abyss short film, you're not only just buying dope merchandise, you are quite literally helping save lives. So please, 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 if you guys can, open your hearts, open your wallets, go to the website and check out some of the super, super dope merch. And also check out Studio Maho's really, really dope merch. Again, that link should also be in there. Check these guys out. They're doing great, amazing things. Ayinde does all the artwork and design for the clothes. They look super, super dope. I'm a broke boy, and that's the reason why I haven't bought anything. But as soon as I get this money up, you better believe, all right, I'm doing a t-shirt. All right, definitely.
Hey, we're gonna have to get you a Studio Maho shirt anyway, because you know
need that. I need
one of those. You need one of those. Okay. Another question from Derek: Which character do you think is going to be fan favorite?
Ooh, man, there is. Honestly, I think there will be so many different reasons to like different characters. I don't know who's going to be the breakout fan favorite, because there's so many things to like from all of our main and secondary and even tertiary characters. Like obviously Xerxes the protagonist, and I know that people are gonna, like Xerxes, but there's so much about Daisy that I think people will come to love and enjoy, like her humor, her wit, her intelligence. I think people will love Oblivion. Oh my gosh, like her badassness, her like straight, like to the pointness, her cutthroatness, I think people will love. There's another friend that's inside Xerxes and Daisy's friend group. Their name is Jabari. I haven't done any recent drawings of him, but he's like a really good friend of them, of theirs. He doesn't know that both of his friends are like superheroes, but he like loves superheroes. He's always constantly talking about them, and he kind of acts as like the comedic relief. And I think people will also really, really love him and dig his character and think that he's cool and think that he's funny. So, man, and then you have Arizona and like all the things that she's doing and going through, and she has like that same kind of like, because when you first meet her, she's kind of like jaded, and I think if there's a character that people will grow to love the most, it will be Arizona. Because I think when people first meet Arizona, they might be like, I don't know. But then as they see more and more episodes with Arizona, you get to know their backstory, you get to know what they're dealing with, you get to know what they're fighting for. It'll be like, oh shit, no, I really fuck with this chick. So, man, I really couldn't tell you. If I had to guess, I would maybe say Oblivion, because Oblivion is just, bro, like the chain.
It's what Valden just said. He said Oblivion already topped her. You see the chain.
Bro, listen, the chain, oh my gosh. And the things that we're gonna show Oblivion doing with this chain in the show, like she fights people with her chain. Like it's gonna be amazing. So man, honestly, I couldn't say. I think there'll be a reason to love every single character that you see.
Okay, cool. Is there an episode in season 1 that you think is going to shake the internet?
Shake the internet. There's 2 in particular that I think will really, really start big conversations. One I mentioned earlier about the spiritual bypassing, talking about religion in the Black community as it relates to mental health. The other one is an episode that he has with a person who is his #1 fan. And it has a lot to do. That episode focuses on hero worship, the abuse of power, misogyny. Like there's a lot of like, I guess you could say not sensitive, but like hot button issues that we'll explore inside that episode. And I think that'll definitely be an episode that get a lot of people going, because the way that we even end the episode, it ends in a bit of kind of like ambiguity of people being like, well, who was right and who was wrong in this situation? Like I could see it being this person, but I could also see this person. And something that I really wanted to get across in that episode was that Xerxes kind of has this personal realization of, because, you know, throughout season 1, he is trying to crowdsource his self-esteem. He's trying to, you know, use social media to make himself a very famous superhero because, you know, he believes that's the thing that he wants. But when that kind of backfires and he goes from, you know, being famous to infamous, and he's getting all of this negative attention, and that's kind of the thing that's like kind of spurring him on. And he runs into this #1 fan who, you know, feeds his ego in all of the way that he likes. And when you see the fallout of that and that relationship and what happens there, I think it'll be a really, really great conversation that's had. And yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm definitely hoping to push the boundaries on that one. When I sent the synopsis to that one, because I have 2 other writers that I work with to write for the show. When I sent the synopsis for that episode to those 2 writers, they were literally like, hey, yo, what? Like you want us to do what? Like to the point where I even had to like call them on the phone because I feel like the synopsis didn't do it justice. They was like, yo, I don't know if I can write this. This feels a little like, whoa, like you're really going there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really going there because I'm trying to have this conversation because I think it's really important. But yeah, I think those 2 episodes will really be episodes that people go like, whoa, that get a lot of people talking.
Okay. Nice. Another question from YouTube. This is coming from Madison. What is something that surprised you about this whole process?
Surprised me about this whole process? I believe she's probably talking about the making of the short film. Surprised me, man. That's a good question. I'm really trying to think of like what surprised me. I didn't think we was gonna be able to get Angelica Ross. That was a surprise. That was a shot in the dark. That was like literally like people. I'm sure you even saw that happen in real time. I was literally just on Twitter, just being like, "Fam, let me just post this picture. I want Angelica Ross. I designed this character after Angelica Ross. Let me just shoot my shot. Let me just be like, hey, yo, Angelica, I'm making the show. It's got this character. It would be really dope. I would love if you joined it." 20 minutes later, likes, retweets, and it's like, I would love to be a part of this. And I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? Yo, I think that was not supposed to work, but it worked. So man, honestly, if I could say if anything was a surprise, that was a surprise. I did not think we would be able to get someone as high caliber, as amazing, as talented as, oh my goodness, wonderful as Angelica to be a part of this project. But she saw it, she loved it. Man, she spoke so much life to me in our very first conversation that we had. And man, it's been amazing just being able to get to work with her and her team. She's got a great, amazing group of people around her. But yeah, that was probably one of the biggest surprises, getting Angelica to do the voice of Dr. Niobe. That was that was not in the plan. That wasn't in the cards originally. That was not supposed to happen, but it just happened. So that was like, whoa.
Okay. Another question from Cindy. How can we break the fear of going to therapy in the Black community? Yeah. That question first.
That's a great question. Honestly, I think it starts first with more positive representation. I think for a lot of people, they don't do things because they don't believe it's possible. They see no real life examples of that. So they're like, how could I do that or embody that? I think we're slowly starting to enter a space where mental health and therapy is something that people are becoming more and more familiar with and is becoming more and more common. But I still think in regards to the Black community, there's still a lot of hesitation. I think we start to fix that though with media representation. I think if we show more Black people in therapy, talking to Black therapists, working out their problems, their issues, and seeing like, yo, there's nothing wrong with this. You're not a weirdo. You're not crazy. This isn't something just for white people. Or like, it's okay to go to someone and seek professional help and unlearn some of these things that you've been dealing with to really process your trauma. And I think, yeah, that first starts with just representation. People need to see it. They need to know that it's real. And once more people see it and see that, I think that's how we start to turn the tide on that.
Completely agree. Another question from Cindy. Do you have any other celebrities in your dream casting for the show? Man, that was a question I was going to ask.
What for you? I think I can say this. I think I can say this. Legendary voice actor Keith David.
Okay.
We're in the process of getting him right now. That's and currently like
wow. Okay.
Happening.
Yeah.
There's also a couple of other super really great, amazing people that I would really love to work with. I'm just gonna say a couple so I can just manifest that and make that happen. MJ Rodriguez, from another actress from Pose, I would really love for her to come on board of this project. Coleman Domingo, oh my goodness, he is so fucking great. He plays Ali in Euphoria. Like, I remember watching those Euphoria specials, those two, the first one that had just him and Rue at the diner and hearing the dialogue back and forth between him and Zendaya, and it was just like, oh my God, like that's the minute where I was like, I need this guy in my show. Man, I would love to work with Coleman Domingo, Sterling K. Brown, Trace Lizette. I think would do an amazing Alyssa Day. If not her, then Sarah Paulson. Reaching back into like that American Horror Story bag, I think Sarah Paulson would also be amazing Alyssa Day. There's a character named Wizard who's kind of like a troll, and I would love to get Lil Nas X to do the voice of that character because I think that just embodies him perfectly.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely, and again, those are just like some of the main villains that we want to get. As we actually go into production, there's going to be a couple of people that we bring on to the show, but those are definitely a few of the heavy hitters that I want to get on board of the project.
Nice. Okay. BioBlade says, once you're done with Captain Zero, would you be interested in remastering/remaking your original Spider-Man pivot short?
Man, this person clearly has been around for a long time and has
fan.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen my shit over years and years and years. So what they're referring to, for those who don't know, so before I made anything related to Captain Zero, my background in animation first started when I started uploading these Spider-Man animations to YouTube. I had this software called Pivot Animator, and what's really, really cool about this, not only the software, there was a really great, robust Pivot community at the time of people that were using this animation software, that were uploading, making animations and stuff like that, uploading them to YouTube. And for a good while, I had a series of Pivot Spider-Man that I was making, and it was all there were Spider-Man characters, all the ones that you know and love. But I was writing original stories to them. Like I was making my own version using, Spider-Man characters. And man, I loved it. And it got such great audience reaction feedback at the time when I was making them. Unfortunately, because I'm a fucking idiot, I deleted all of these videos off of my YouTube channel when I went to college, because I was like, I'm gonna put this stuff away, I'm gonna go to college, I don't know why I didn't just archive them. I should have just archived them instead of deleting them. I was able to find one through the internet after like scouring. I found one of the videos, and it's this Spider-Man versus Green Goblin, and another one of Spider-Man versus Sandman, and I uploaded them both to this very same channel. So if you guys want to delve into my animation history, you can look up those two videos that I did for reference. Will I ever go back to making those Spider-Man shorts? Man, to be honest, it's something I thought about for a really long time. I've definitely thought about re-downloading Pivot Animator and making those animations again. Honestly, though, if I did, I don't know if I would release them. I would just kind of make them for myself, because it was just something I did. Even when I was making them and uploading them to YouTube, I wasn't making them with the intention that they were going to like blow up and do, like, I was just telling stories, like something that I've been doing ever since I was a kid. And I wanted to do it with a character that I loved through a medium that I really enjoyed. And that was the goal. And then the side effect was that it became popular. I remember when I did the very last episode that I did of that Pivot Spider-Man series was called Spider-Man episode 8, Enter the Green Goblin. There was part 1 and part 2. It was, oh my God, both of these animations were like 8 minutes long, 10 minutes long. Part 2, I literally had my audience waiting like 3 months, because again, at the time, it was just me. I was writing, I was animating, I was editing, I was doing everything. It was just me. So they were like 3 months for this video to drop. This video after like 3 weeks, which is why I'm so fucking mad. I deleted all these videos. Like this video after 3 weeks got like 300,000 views. It was one of my most viewed videos. People really, and one of the main reasons is because the video that you can actually see that's on my channel of the Spider-Man versus Green Goblin, I was only able to save that little bit of that clip. That video is actually an excerpt from that animation. And bro, like the animation in that video is so good. Like it's not the best animation in the world. I was like 14 when I was making it, but it's really good. It's really, really good. Like the fight sequence between like him and the Green Goblin is just like so cool. It's so like visually dynamic. I was giving my all. I was going so hard with that animation. But yeah, man, if I ever did return, it will probably only be for like personal reasons. Also because like I mean, copyright infringement. I don't think I could get away with making that animated series now, especially I'm getting ready to make this big, you know, original concept idea. It would be very strange. Something that I would actually really like to do is another universe manifestation moment. Lots of those. I would love if sometime in the future Marvel approached me and was like, hey, would you like to do an animated Spider-Man show? Listen, I'm there. I am there. I am there. Tell me that and let's go. Let's do it. I would love to do that because that would be such an amazing like full circle moment. I literally got my start in animation, making Spider-Man animations, to then actually be working with Marvel and making a Spider-Man animation. That would be crazy. But yeah.
Okay. To piggyback off of that question, do you have any other projects planned after Captain Zero? Like, I know Captain Zero is like bread and butter, essentially, right?
That's
you got multiple things planned for Captain Zero. I feel that, obviously. I'm the same way. Do you have any other, I guess, stories that you want to tell?
Oh my God, so many. I think I posted a picture to Twitter just the other day of like the roster of just our animated projects that we want to do. There is Space Friends, which is going to come right after Captain Zero, which is a show that is co-created between me and a really good writing friend of mine, Andre Enko. Space Friends is going to be amazing. That one's like more of a comedy. And Captain Zero is like more of a drama, but there's Space Friends, Bounty Hunter Strippers in Space, whose title is exactly what you think it is. It's about bounty hunter strippers in space, which is gonna be awesome. Like people are gonna love that one. Man, My Brother's Keeper, Kitsune, Sumi, a squirrel named Derek, the Necromancer, Nynx the Dream Warrior. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like there will be a whole interconnected, cutting edge animated universe where you see some of these characters go into other shows and stuff like that. It's gonna be really dope. But yeah, we have hella projects lined up. The Blood of Jesus, which is one of my favorite ideas that I would really like to get off the ground. I just really like that concept, that idea. Real quickly, the idea came from, I was hanging out with my sister. And I just had like this random thought. I was like, yo, Jesus is a vampire. My sister was like, what? How did you come to that conclusion? I'm like, nah, but really think about it. Like the Last Supper ritual, that was a vampire ritual. Jesus told his followers, if you drink of my blood and you eat my flesh, you will become like me. Jesus was a vampire. Like he made all his disciples immortal. Like he told them to drink his blood and eat his flesh and they would be like him. Like, yo, Jesus was a vampire. And I created this whole concept or this idea of, yeah, Jesus being a vampire, the Last Supper of Jesus basically knowing that he was getting ready to get like killed by like the government and shit like that, because obviously they don't want fucking vampires, you know, running around and shit like that. So he turned all of his disciples in that ceremony into vampires, and they were supposed to carry on the vampire bloodline. But then Judas obviously gets really jealous because, you know, he wants to be the number one top guy, and he ends up throughout the years killing all of the other disciples. He thinks that he's killed all of them and all of their families and descendants, but he actually misses one. And that one person who was allowed to live throughout the years, the family descendants went on and on and on until you get to like modern times, and there's this kid who's born. He's like Afro-Latino. His name is Jesus, which is like Jesus. His name is Jesus, and he's the last living member of this bloodline. And then, when he goes through puberty, he finds out that he's a vampire. He's like the last living vampire. Judas, still alive, who at this point in time believed that he was the last supreme vampire left, was getting ready to take his throne and overthrow the world, when he finds out that there's another last living bloodline that's still a descendant from Jesus. So now he goes after this kid and is, trying to, attack the kid. And it's the blood of Jesus. I just thought that story, that concept of where it came from, was just so ingenious. I was just like, just recontextualize the way that people look at the Last Supper. Jesus was a vampire. But yeah, bro, we have so many shows, so many ideas. Captain Zero is literally only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much amazing cutting edge animation content coming.
Shoot, that sounds dope. I'm the same way though with stuff that just comes out of random ideas. You know what I'm saying? You just be having random thoughts like that. I love when that happens.
I remember
some of the best stories come out of that.
It really does. I remember a while back you were saying how you had this idea for this character because you were like, I think it would be so cool if someone's name sounded like Built Different. So you're like Build.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, it's a gag series. I had, it was so random. It was so random. I was just, I don't even know what I was doing. I don't remember what I was doing. It was 3:00 in the morning, and I'm just thinking of Built Different, and I was like, yo, Bill T. DeFront. What if and then a whole just idea what if there was a character and his name was Bill T. DeFront, and he was, and his superpower was just that he was built different.
I love that. I love that.
We gotta get to work on that because that's people have been asking about that.
yes, that's gonna go. I can see that going. Yes. Yep.
Now I got a couple of series like that are born from just those random ideas. Random thoughts,
Captain Zero, if I'm keeping the stack, was a random thought. It was just I was in the middle of a depressive episode and I was like, this is fucking awful. I feel like I might do something bad to myself right now. How do I keep myself from doing that? And I just went and I grabbed a piece of paper and I was like, art's my first love. Let me just try to do something, anything to keep my mind away. And I sketched the very first drawing of Captain Zero and I was like, no, this is it. This is the idea. So yeah, man, so many great things can come from those just random moments.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see. How do you know if you are in? Oh wait, hold on. Yes. Okay. How do you know if you're in trouble? This is coming from Abini.
Abini, yes, that's on one of the heads over at Chromatic. How do you know when you're in trouble? I believe this is in relation to when to ask for help. Honestly, as someone who has major depressive disorder, I would say some of the telltale signs in the very beginning is lack of interest, lack of desire of the things that you usually normally do. If you're a person who's typically excited about getting up for the day, going to work, doing your regular things, and all of a sudden you just now randomly just feel like everything that I used to enjoy doing, I don't like doing anymore. That's a sign that okay, things aren't where they should be. You should reach out to someone, talk to someone, sit with yourself, recalibrate, figure out what's going on. I also know that Angelica and I, we also talked about some of the other telltale signs that happen in the very beginning. I know for me, something was also sleeping, excessive sleeping. That's something that I was doing a lot. I would be like, yo, I don't want to deal with reality right now, so let me just go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I was doing that all the time. So just being mindful of changes in your every day-to-day behavior and your changes in your overall mindset. If you're genuinely a more happy person and you just find yourself all of a sudden not really being that, that's definitely a good time to self-assess and be like, whoa, what's going on? Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah. I had, speaking of the excessive sleep, I was definitely one of those people in college. College is just one of the biggest stressors, trying to balance a lot of things at one time. I was going through my career and I was just not happy, I guess, with what I had chosen. When I went to college, I didn't know what I was going to do with art. And I just said, hey, I'm going to try painting, and I found out that I just wasn't, it wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type of person that can paint for 2 hours and then leave it and come back and do it some more, and then come back, and I gotta finish the whole thing in one sitting. And then yeah. So that just wasn't for me. But it was a combination of that, a combination of having to take classes I just wasn't interested in. Like that was a requirement. They try to make you. They had that thing where it was like, hey, you got signed up for this because we're trying to like make you branch out into other things, right? And that was a requirement when I could have been taking stuff I was actually interested in towards the credits that I needed, right, to graduate. And then that on top of trying to play tennis, because I was a tennis player. I was trying to play tennis at the same time, and my tennis and my art schedule would always conflict because I needed to be in the studio during practice time. So yeah, I was going through all that. I eventually like stopped going to the tennis. I wasn't going to class very much. I was trying to do that and play tennis, and then eventually like tennis got affected by my class, a lack of class, and I had to take a year off basically from school, but not a whole year off, but essentially take summer class away from university because it got that bad, and I had changed my whole focus of what I was going to do in college. So, and that's when I ended up doing animation instead. So
college will definitely do that to you, bro. College is a super huge stressor. I know lots of people, watching probably now that are in college or dealing with all that stuff, and it's super, super stressful. Like, man, I know lots of people just like say it as like a slogan, like prioritize your mental health. Like that's just like a thing people say, but like, no, really though. Like, really, like it honestly took me being in college and experiencing burnout to realize like, yo, I cannot live life this way. I cannot burn the candle at both ends and thinking that's going to be productive. I need time to rest. I need time to relax. That's just as important as getting up and doing the work and all that kind of stuff. Because if I have no energy, if I don't have, what I need to be able to get through, then it's just not going to work.
Yeah. All right. Another question from Abini. Captain Zero is amazing. I'm hoping to see more from you. Do you have? Oh, well, we already technically answered that. Do you have more projects that you're working on? Obviously, the answer is yes. You have plenty. Yes. Let's see. Another question from Vince H. For a lot of young cishet Black men specifically, stress manifests as anger, and that can be warped into the traditional stereotype of Black people. In Xerxes, how, if at all, will that stereotype be subverted or corrected?
Ooh, that's a really good question. That's definitely something that we address inside the series. There are definitely moments where you will see Xerxes get angry, Xerxes get frustrated, see Xerxes, become emotionally dysregulated because of what he's dealing with and the stress that he's dealing with. And the way that we subvert that in the show is by showing the support systems that he has in place, his therapist, Daisy, his best friend, the people that are there to actually see him for who he is and contextualize what he is that he's feeling. So Xerxes would be the kind of person to feel a lot of personal guilt about being like, oh, I feel like I'm not living up to his expectations, or, oh, I'm feeling this kind of way, and getting mad at himself. But through his friends, through his therapist, we get to recontextualize the way that you see him exhibiting these emotions. And something that I really, really like about what's kind of different about Xerxes is, while there will be times where Xerxes gets so frustrated, he gets angry. For the most part, when Xerxes gets frustrated, he cries. He's vulnerable. And that's actually the kind of side of this particular kind of lived male experience that I wanted to show. I wanted to show that kind of vulnerability, the fact that lots of people would like to express themselves in that way, but especially when it comes to men, we're socialized to not do that. That's wrong. If you're a man and you're crying, like it's wild, like that's scary. Like I even had a conversation with a friend who was basically like, yeah, I was taught to react that if I see a man crying, like that's scary. Like I should be afraid. And I'm like, yo, that is wild to think, because that's not would think if they saw any other person like crying, So we definitely have conversations where we recontextualize the way that people are taught to view this Black man expressing his feelings and emotions. So that's definitely something you'll see a lot of in the show.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Last question from Paul before we get to some comments. Paul says, do you have any other projects specifically that highlight mental health and or other stigmatized topics affecting marginalized groups in the same way?
I think every single show that I plan to make is going to have some kind of conversation around mental health, because even in Captain Zero, the conversation doesn't start and stop with just depression, with just PTSD, with just anxiety. You will see various other kinds of mental health issues explored in Captain Zero, but also in other shows that we have and plan as well. Like, for me, the biggest goal that I want to do with Cutting Edge Animation is I really want to, again, I mean, diversity is the hot button word that people use a lot these days, but I'm talking about like an authentic telling of stories from people from marginalized communities. Like, that's really, really something that I want to focus on in Cap Zero. I was talking about The Blood of Jesus and how, that's an Afro-Latino lead. You have in Space Friends, the lead of that, she's an alien. But it's a woman who's the lead inside that series. And with all of our other shows, like we definitely plan to do that. So yeah, you're going to see lots of different authentic stories being told from the vantage point of these people from different lived life experiences, different perspectives. Like even a show like Bounty Hunter Strippers in Space, where you have these various different, there's like 5 main characters in the show, and they all have various different kinds of like personalities and how we explore femininity, the expectations of women, the commodification of women, like even delving into those kinds of topics. So yeah, like Cutting Edge Animation, like our goal is to really, really tell those kinds of stories from an authentic place. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot more of that stuff coming down the pipeline.
Cool. Okay. All right. It's time to get some comments.
Mm-hmm.
So, first comment comes from Andre Inco.
Yes.
Inco. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Shout out Angelica. First of all,
shout out to Angelica. Yep. Yes. Shout out to Angelica. Angelica, if you happen to see this or if you happen to come across this, I cannot thank you enough. You are an amazing, amazing, amazing person, a beautiful soul, a beautiful individual. The love that you've shown, not only me, but this project, your belief in it, like it has just been amazing. And honestly, like I didn't know how much I needed to be reaffirmed in the ways that she reaffirmed me until we had like that first, conversation. And she's just amazing. She is quite literally an angel. I'm so thankful and appreciative for her. So yes, shout out Angelica. She's amazing.
Yes. It looks like
in the comment sections. Hello.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Another comment from Madison Ansel. Can't wait to see where this will go.
Oh yeah, it's going. It's going.
It's going for sure.
It's going all the places. It's gonna be. Listen. I'm not trying to say that Captain Zero is going to be a global phenomenon. I'm not going to say that Captain Zero will be one of the best animated series in the last 10 years. I'm not going to say any of that. All right, I'm not going to say any of that. I will just wait. Captain Zero will be bigger than Static Shock. I'm not going to say that Captain Zero is going to be bigger than Static Shock. I am just going to keep doing what I'm doing, keep my nose to the ground, keep the progress that we're building and working. And I just want you guys to see. I want you to see what we build, what we make. And when you do, I think the reaction will be, I think it's going to be a big one and a really, really good one.
100% agree. Serene, said it correctly this time.
Yes.
Sock. Love Angelica. She's amazing.
Yes, much love to Angelica. I never stop giving love to Angelica. Just always, forever, perpetual. Just flowers to Angelica.
Noel says, I am so excited for the series.
Oh my gosh, listen, you and me both, man. Coming up this September will be 7 years since I created this project and started working on it, man. If you're excited, you can't even measure my level of excitement that I have.
I know that's right.
Project.
Ashley says amazing cast.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the cast.
I mean, in the short film, I'm sure she's referring to the short film. It's just me and Angelica. So shout out to us.
Right. Yeah.
Shout out to us.
You guys doing great. Andre again.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the greatest. Referring to Angelica.
Yes. More flowers for Angelica. I don't even mind it. Listen, if you guys just want to talk about it, look, move me to the side. I don't even mind.
He said, look.
You
said, that's good. I'm off the screen. Let's see. Balden Campbell says, beyond excited and proud to see how far you've come.
Thank you, Vlad, and I really appreciate that. Man, it's been a long time coming. I know there's lots of people who see me at various stages. You know, there was the one homie who was in here earlier who's seen me since the YouTube Pivot Spider-Man days.
Oh yeah,
bro, it's definitely been a long time coming. I'm super appreciative of you and all the fans, everybody who's shown love and support to the show, man. Yeah, man, thank you guys.
I'm assuming these are supposed to be emotes that are coming through from Lena. Thanks. Okay.
Hi, mom.
Kathy says, anyone else you want on the film?
In the short film, well, the short film's already done. We've already recorded all of the audio for the short film. So in the short film, in terms of that, the cast is set. It's me and Angelica. So there won't be anybody else added to the short film. For the series, however, we kind of went over a couple of names that we want to get to. I'll re-go over those. Definitely Trace Lizette. Definitely Coleman Domingo. Definitely Sterling K. Brown, Lil Nas X, if that's possible. MJ Rodriguez, I would love that. But yes, there's definitely. Oh, and my goodness, how could I forget? Keith David as the voice of the Depression Demon. Yes, there's definitely a really good hand-picked group of actors that I want to get on board on this project that I think would absolutely kill it.
Awesome. Let's see. Madison Ansell says, I'm so proud of you. My heart is so full.
Listen, Madison, thank you. My heart is full. My heart is full.
You got another comment from your mother. I love you, baby. I love you so. Oh my goodness, that's my son. That's amazing. May God continue to bless you.
Thank you. That's my mother. I gotta give a real quick shout out to my mom. I tried to give her a shout out during my interview that I had with NBC, but they cut it out. I understand why they did. It's but I just want to say to my mom, thank you so much for all the love and the support that you've shown me over the years. When I say, lots of people cannot say this about their mothers, but my mother has been a day one supporter of me since the very, very beginning. Since I was like 5 years old and put a pencil in my hand and I was like, I want to do art. My mom was like, yes, do that. I will support you. And, you know, even when I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, even when it was just drawings, even when it was just animation, like my mom has always just been super supportive. Like my mom, like the very first proof of concept that we ever did in 2016, she paid for that. Like, my mom has been one of the biggest supporters of me. Even still now, I know if there's anything that I need, if I'm struggling, if I'm like, yo, mom, this rent is kind of, can you help me out a little bit? She always comes through, man. I love my mother. I'm so fortunate to have such a supportive, amazing mother like I have. So I just want to let you know that, mom, if you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I saw that you called me earlier. This is what I'm doing. That's why I didn't answer your call, but I will call you back as soon as I'm done. All right. I love you, mom.
Shout out moms.
Shout out to the moms.
Let's see. We got another comment from Kurt Reynolds. Congratulations to all involved.
Yes, man. Thank you. Again, we have some amazing partners that we're working with. Again, Chromatic Black, an amazing group of people that helped quite literally give us the resources that we needed to make this project. Without them, we couldn't have made it. So thank you to them, and to everybody involved. Again, flowers to Angelica. But yeah.
Jan Martin says, that bomber.
Yes, they were the bomber that they saw me in the promo video. This bad boy right here.
Yes.
This bad boy right here. Let me look at that.
Cannot stress enough how fire that is.
Bro. These bombers, you cannot get this bomber anymore. I keep trying to tell people. I feel like people don't be listening to me. Maybe let me say it with my voice on live so people will listen. All of the merch that we release for Captain Zero, we release it seasonally. So typically every 4 months, we do a completely new like merch drop and we do new designs and stuff like that. Every time we retire, every time we go into a new merch cycle, we completely like destroy all of the previous designs that we've done. So this jacket that I just showed you, nobody can get that jacket anymore. Like it's like the time to get it is gone. There will be more bomber jackets. There will be more new designs and stuff like that. So definitely you guys don't want to miss the next drop. There's another exclusive Into the Abyss bomber jacket that I designed that's currently on our website right now. You guys can check that out if you're interested in getting the bomber jackets. But yes, you guys got to move on the merchandise when you see it, because I literally designed all of these pieces to be collector's items. Like we only typically release about 100 of every single item that we drop. And then again, after that 4-month cycle is over, the designs are retired forever and they never come back. I did a very special exception with those bomber jackets when we re-released the short film, but even that was for a couple of weeks. I think there was like 2 more people that was able to get like bomber jackets, but like, yeah, after that, it's gone. So yeah, you guys, if you guys love the merchandise, want to support the show, you got to move on that merchandise, man. You got to move on it. Because something I'm also trying to create for my fans, because I told you I'm real big on showing love to my fans. Dang it, I just lost my train of thought. That's my ADHD brain. Where was I going with that train of thought? I was talking about the bomber jacket
merch and your fans.
Oh yes, because I designed the merchandise to be collector's items. The goal is, because they're sold in such limited quantity, once the show is actually released and we start doing collaborations with other like bigger companies and stuff like that, all of these merchandise items that you guys got before the show aired, that stuff is going to become extremely valuable. So if you have this Captain Zero bomber jacket in your possession, it costs $99 and we sold it. When the show goes into production, that jacket will probably be worth $500, maybe $1,000 at that point in time. And again, because it's in such limited quantity, it'll probably be worth even more. So I'm quite literally even trying to give incentive to the people that buy and support, you know, the show. Like, I'm giving you guys memorabilia. You guys could possibly make money off of having some of these early stage designs of this merchandise. So yeah, guys, run to the comment section, man. Get those pieces right now. You're gonna want them, because you don't want to be the person who, when the show's out, someone's like, oh my god, I just sold my Captain Zero bomber jacket for $5,000, and you're like, what?
That could have been me.
You see
what you do. Kathy says she got her bomber in pink.
Yes. My sister got the Butterfly Girl pink bomber jacket. That's one of the dopest designs that we do. I got to do another pink jacket design. Those ones look really, really good.
Definitely. Let's see. We got Dines Visual says we move.
Yo, that is the animator Christopher Dines and Dines Visuals, who did all of the animation for the short film. Shout out to Chris. That man is one of the hardest workers I know. Homie came in the clutch when it came to actually airing the short film. There was one more clip that we needed before we can air, and he literally sent it to me like 10 minutes right before we went live. Shout out to Chris, man. He's done amazing work. He made such great, amazing, beautiful visuals for the short film. He's hard at work currently, like right now, finishing up the next 4 minutes that we're getting ready to show in the full version. So shout out to Chris. And all that he's done for this project, man. I love this guy. We're gonna do great, amazing things together. Chris, you rock.
Kathy says she needs you to sign her bomber jacket.
Sign it. I mean, I will sign your bomber jacket. I will sign your bomber jacket.
Continuing from what Dines was saying, what a great way to celebrate Juneteenth, Black excellence, amazing Black people supporting Black.
Oh my God, yes. That's one of the things that I love so much about being able to work with Chromatic Black, the great, amazing hosts and panelists that they were able to bring together for the live stream. And man, I love when Black people can come together and do something that's really, really cool, that's really, really dope. Like, that is honestly like one of the things that I really, really hope to do more of as I enter this field and enter this industry. I hope that I can keep as many Black people and creatives in my close proximity as possible. People who know the vision, understand the culture, you know, because that's really important. When you're telling stories like this, having an understanding of the cultural aspect is so, so important, because, you know, you don't want that one person in the room. That's how you end up with that one Miles Morales comic book that we just got.
Oh no.
That's what happens when you don't have people in the culture that know what they're talking about. You get stuff like that happens and gets released. It still blows my mind to this day, because I'm like, nobody quality controlled this. Nobody, the editor-in-chief saw this and was like, yep, that's fine.
Because they're not from the culture either.
They're not from the culture either. Like, yo, You need people
that's what happens.
That understand these kinds of things, you know.
Serene says, need more queer representation, Black, brown, everything.
Oh my God, yes. That's very important. Again, I think something that we do too often when it comes to the Black community is there's too much separation. This is even a topic that I want to explore in Captain Zero. Like in the African, in the, I guess you could call it the African diaspora. Yeah. In the African diaspora, there are so many different lived experiences of Blackness. You have certain Black people trying to dictate to other Black people what is or isn't Black. And that blows my mind that conversations like this happen. And you have people like, oh, light skin this, dark skin that. Oh, you're polyethnic, but you're father is white, so you're not Black. Like what? I've heard all kinds of crazy, ridiculous things people have tried to say to invalidate certain people's Blackness or experience in Blackness. And something that I wanted to show in Captain Zero is that like Blackness is not monolithic. There is no one way to be Black. There are so many different live life Black experiences. Take my experience, for example. Like I'm a dark-skinned, male presenting person. That's how most people would perceive me when they look at me. But if you looked at me, you wouldn't know that I'm actually a first-generation child of immigrants, that I actually have a different kind of live life Black experience compared to like the African-American Black experience. My parents weren't born here. My parents aren't from here. They didn't deal with certain kinds of things. So it's a different kind of experience. And that's all of these kinds of things are what I wanted to show. It's the reason why, you know, Xerxes is a child of immigrants, why Daisy is polyethnic, why Arizona is polyethnic, but, you know, a different kind of polyethnic with a different kind of lived experience. You know, she's adopted. You know, you have Oblivion, who is a Black trans woman, who that is even a very specific live life Black experience. And it's like, I want to show as many different shades, hues, experiences of Blackness as possible to show people like there is no one way to be Black. All of these experiences are Black experiences and they're all valid.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. We got Ryan D says, what was this animated on? 1s, 2s, or... Don's replied and said it was 3s.
Yeah, he said it was 3s. Yeah. I have no idea what that means. I have not opened up an animation software in so long. I'm glad that Chris answered that question because I was like, there you go. There's the answer.
So 3. I can answer that a little bit more.
There you go.
Would like to know what that means. That just means how long you hold the frame, like seconds wise. Is it held on 1 second, 2 seconds, or 3 seconds? And
I should know this. You think I would remember this?
Hey, there's a lot of terminology. I am 100% guilty of having to go look up stuff because I'd be like, what does that mean? And then I'd be looking at it like, I went to school for that. Why? I don't remember what that means.
Oh my God, no, same, yeah.
So yes, Verlinda, which I don't know who this is.
Related to you. That's my cousin. That's my cousin.
Okay. Sends the heart emoji.
Oh, shout out to Cassandra. Heart emoji right back at you.
We got Kurt Reynolds says, I hope this has the same impact of something like Static Shock one day. Funny, we were just talking about that. It's been a while since I've seen a show with Black characters that explores mental health.
That question is almost quite literally, I mean, there's a lot of things as to why I made Captain Zero, but that is definitely one of them. It got to a point where I remember like back in 2015, this was way before there was I know currently right now they're working on developing a Static Shock film, but a Static Shock film has been in development hell for like years. But I remember long after the cancellation of Static Shock in like 2005, 2006, I remember waiting around to see like, okay, what's going to be the next thing? When's the next time we're going to get a Black superhero show or a show with a Black protagonist? Like, when is that going to happen? And I was waiting and waiting and waiting.
Man, you're right, because
it never happened.
I can't even think of the next time we got specifically a Black lead animated show. Like, it was a long time, I think, before I saw anything like that. Man, that's crazy.
And now we're getting some more, you know, like there's Craig the Creek on Cartoon Network. There's a couple, but again, even just specifically in the medium of superheroes.
That
story. Like,
well, now we got, what do we got? Raising Dion on Netflix.
Yes, but even that's a live action.
Right, that's live action. Oh, you mean animation specifically? Yes. Yeah, specifically animation. I'm
like, yo, where? Where's it at?
I don't know. Yeah.
It got to a point where it was literally just like, bro, if I keep waiting around for someone else to do it, for someone else to tell the story, it's never going to get told. I got to tell this story. So
yeah,
forget waiting around for anybody else. I'm going to do it.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Would you ever consider speaking in schools? Your journey is so inspiring.
Yes, I would definitely consider speaking in schools. I know my alma mater, Full Sail University, which is based in Orlando, Florida. They've actually asked me to come back and do like a speaking engagement. I have to sort out all the details with that. But yeah, no, I would definitely love to come to schools and speak to them and talk about the experience of being a filmmaker, my journey as a filmmaker, and also just my individual journey as a person and what it took to get here. But yeah, that's definitely something I would be open to doing.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Madison Ansel says, so amazing to hear you share your story. I'm so proud.
Thank you, Madison. Thank you, Madison. That's another good friend of mine. Man, yeah, I said this in the virtual screening, but the importance of your voice, as a storyteller, particularly as a Black storyteller, it is so important. Again, like, we think about, not just like that Miles comic, but like in other film and other television shows where you have Black characters that are being written by white people or people that are not of the culture, and you can see it, you can tell it, you hear dialogue and you're like, that doesn't sound like something a Black person would say. No. That doesn't sound real. I don't believe that. So yeah, it is so important to use your voice. And I didn't know just how important my voice was and how needed my voice was until I started putting Captain Zero out there and saying, yo, this is the thing that I wanted to make, and seeing the overwhelming response of people being like, yo, I want to see this. Yo, like, I would love to see this, So yeah, the voice is very, very important, especially for Black creators. So thank you, Madison.
Kurt Reynolds says, thank you for your candor and your transparency. So glad you survived to produce this work.
Thank you. Listen, I'm glad too. I'm glad too. Sometimes I think about that, man. I think about that day, when, it should have been the end and it wasn't. And I think about how, like, shotguns don't jam. Like, that's not a thing. I mean, they can, but very rarely. So the fact that was my lived life experience, and I got to live, I didn't die on that day, and I got a chance to actually sit with my thoughts and feelings and actually come up with a better way to deal with what I was feeling. And the fact that I was able to take all of those feelings, put it into story, put it out there, share it with people so that others that are feeling the same thing, going through the same thing, can know that you're not alone. You're not the only person who's dealing with this, feeling with this. At that time, when I was first diagnosed with major depressive disorder and I was going through all of that stuff, I swear it felt like I was the only Black person in the world who was dealing with what I was dealing with. Because, I wasn't really on the internet like that. I wasn't like, on the communities and stuff like that. So it felt like it was just me. I was like, I feel like nobody knows what this is like. But it wasn't until I told people, like, this is the story I want to make and this is what it's going to be about, that I get flooded with messages of people being like, yo, same, yo, like, I'm dealing with that. Yo, I felt that way, and realized, like, oh my gosh, no, this is a thing. There are hundreds, millions of people who feel the way that I feel, who have dealt with what I've dealt with, and this story is important. So yeah, I'm thankful that I'm still here to tell that story too.
BioBlade says, I know we've technically never met for real, but I feel so encouraged and so hyped for your content since I was a kid watching your Spider-Man shorts. I'm going to stick with you and watch all of your work.
Damn, man, that's love. That is love. That's big love right there, man. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Like, again, it's so wild to think about just how long this journey has been. And again, like, I'm getting this comment from this person who's seen me. Like, I started making those Pivot Spider-Man animations on YouTube when I was 12. I'm going to be 25 in August. Like, that is an astronomical amount of time. But yeah, no, thank you for sticking with me and being a part of this journey. Like, oh man, there's so much more great, amazing things to come. Like I was saying earlier, this is literally just the tip of the iceberg, man. We haven't even gotten to how deep, how cool this is gonna get. So stick around, man. There's more great stuff right around the corner.
Serene says, wow, that was beautifully put. Sometimes saving ourselves is the hardest battle, and then the most important person to save is yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally the tagline that I use whenever I'm pitching Captain Zero to people, telling them that, like, yeah, ultimately it's a story that is very specific in its direction, but it's universal in its message, a message that we all have the ability to be a hero and save a life, even if the life we save is ourselves. And that's ultimately what Xerxes learns, at the end of season 1. He spends all of this time trying to crowdsource his self-esteem, trying to get people to like him, trying to be this person because he feels like that's the only way he has any personal value. He feels like to be a hero, to save others, to do this is what he needs to do to validate himself in that way. But the reality is he is the person who needs saving. And before he can do any of that stuff, he has to first save himself.
Right. We've got another comment from Candace Dionysus. As someone who has struggled with depression and anxiety since I was probably around 12 and is bipolar, this is so important to me in general. Mental health is so important, and we need to keep normalizing talking openly about it.
Man, I don't even know if I necessarily have anything to add to that, but yes, 100% to that. Man, I think there is, again, so much stigma surrounding mental health, even just like the visibility of it, of people just not wanting to see it, especially like certain mental health issues that are considered like, unsightly, like bipolar disorder, like schizophrenia, stuff like that. So yeah, I think having that open, honest conversation about it, its importance is really, really good and is going to be ultimately beneficial for the culture and people. So yeah.
True Blue Blur says excessive sleeping is such a powerful and difficult symptom to defeat. I need this show. This conversation is so important to consume.
Yeah, that's one of those symptoms that it goes under the radar because it's not
really does.
It's not what most people classify as depression. Most people, they think about depression, they think that it looks a very certain way. It's like, oh, if you're not balled up in your room telling everybody you hate them and to stay away, then you're not depressed. And it's like, no, depression can manifest in a lot of different ways. And again, those very early stages, the early warning signs, like, can be manifesting in those ways as well, and catching the thing like the excessive sleep is really, really important. Like, I knew that was actually one of the ways of how, like, my mom was able to catch on to the fact that there was something going on with me. That was the sign that she caught, her being like, yo, like, I noticed you come home from school and you just go straight to bed and like you sleep most of the day, you only come out at night, sometimes you might eat, so like, what's going on? So that is a really, really important, like, early warning sign to be able to catch. And again, to that point of being able to show that depression doesn't always manifest in one specific kind of way. There's a multitude of ways it can manifest itself. And if we become more keen to identifying the signs, this is how we're able to, prevent, certain things from happening.
Right. Baby Ghost Too Smooth says,
Shout out to Baby Ghost Too Smooth. Right back at you.
Oh my God. Also says, consuming complex themes in a cartoon makes it so digestible.
Yeah, 100%. Again, like I said, I will never stop singing the praises of the medium of animation. It's a medium. It's not a genre.
It is not a genre. It's not a genre.
People out there with your misconceptions about animation, you say animation's for children. It is not for children.
Nope.
It is a medium. It is
like,
not
okay, it's for children. Go tell your kids to go watch Rick and Morty or something.
And that's what that's not gonna go over well,
No, yes.
So no, definitely. Animation is the medium that I want to live and die by. Honestly, I was having this conversation with my significant other the other day, and I was like, honestly, I don't even know if I want to make anything live action from Cutting Edge Animation. I mean, the studio is literally called Cutting Edge Animation. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to make anything live action, to be honest. Like, even if I do make something that resembles live action, like Love, Death, Robots, which I love. They have really, really great animated shorts where they have like hyper realistic but stylized animation. And it looks, kind of like real people, but it's animated. It's all animated. And I was like, if I ever did a live action film, it would be that. It would be that. But yeah, I love animation.
A Noel, who is actually, I think, still in the chat right now, says, I am so excited. This is incredible.
Thank you. I'm excited. It didn't sound like it just then. Believe me.
Internally.
internally.
Yeah. Derek Paul says, I'm ready for this show.
I am ready for this show. Listen, again, like anything that you guys can say about how you feel about this show, listen, I feel that times 20. I've been living with the show in my brain and my mind. Like I have a visual brain. Anytime I think about an episode or a character, I can see it. I can see it all like, right in front of my head and my brain. Like I've been living with this for so long, and I just can't wait to be able to give it to you guys.
Valden Campbell says, we outside on Juneteenth.
Yes, sir. We are outside. We're inside, but we outside, and we're good.
Right? Yeah.
And we're gonna be outside when we get ready to do this tour, and I get ready to come to these cities and get ready to see these people, man. And again, if you guys haven't already, man, like comment your state in the major city that is inside your state, because you probably can't go to like every single city, but a major city that's inside your state. If you would like to see us do our in-person screening for Into the Abyss in your state, definitely do
that. Madison Ansel again says, woo, let's go.
Woo, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Comic Fanatic Incorporated, they are, in quotations, in the building.
Yes, I believe this is when I like first stepped onto the thing. Yes.
Shamar says, we in here. That was probably from the beginning as well. Yes. Chef Prime Channel says, incredible achievements. It's good to see other Black film professionals.
Thank you, man. It really, really is. It really, really is. It's amazing to even be considered in that kind of like thing now. Like now that the film is out and we're building momentum towards the show and the series, to like now to know that like my name is in the mix that kind of way. Like that's really, really dope.
BioBlade says, I live in Connecticut, so could you see if you could visit New Haven?
New Haven, I've definitely heard of that before. I will definitely run that by my producers and see what we can make happen.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure New Haven is a major in Connecticut. So, yeah. Dine's Visual. You're once again.
Classic. Shout out to Chris, man. He's amazing. Super, super hard worker, animator. Man, animated this entire thing all by himself. Sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, dog, I feel like one of those major studio peoples that got their animators with the whip being like, more frames.
Yes, absolutely.
Coming from an animator background, I know how that be, the tight crunch times, the tight turnaround times. So, man, I'm always just trying to extend as much grace as possible. Like literally right after our screening, because the homie was supposed to be working up all the way up until the 16th is when we plan to actually have the final film completely turned in. But right after the screening, I was like, bro, take a week off, man. Like take a week off. Like you've been working entirely too hard, bro. Like and I'm not, because again, I know what that feels like. I've been on the other end of that. So
right.
Please take some time for yourself.
Madison Ansel says, you look great. I'm sure that was referring to when we first got on.
Thank you.
Serene says, Lamard, you are amazing. 7 years, pay them in full.
Bro. Yes. Thank you, Sock, for saying that. Bro, 7 years of work. Listen, when I step to these studios, when I step to these distributors, listen, y'all need to come with it. All right. When it comes to the budget of Captain Zero, I need $9. I'm not talking about $9 neither. Right? I need it all. Come on.
That's the zeros attached to it.
It's not that Captain Zero is the only reason why it's called Captain Zero.
Yeah.
I need that.
Dine's Visual says, to the moon. Black people aren't a monolith. It's important to show that, and I can't wait to see the show.
Oh my God, yes. We're definitely taking this straight to the moon. And exactly, all of those things. Black people are not monolithic, and we need to be able to see more and more of different kinds of experiences of Black people. And again, talking about like, how do we change the tide of these conversations? You have a lot of conversations that are happening right now on social media. My God, the divide between like Black men and women couldn't be any like larger than it is currently. There's so many different fractions happening inside the community. PJ said it's about to be a surgical summer. Yo, I know exactly what he's referencing to. Yes, 100% it's about to be a surgical summer. Cutting edge animation, bro. It's a surgical summer for sure.
Oh, that's right.
Damn, I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, you got me high. Damn, what was that talking about? What was the question?
I know you were talking about how Black people aren't a monolith.
Yes. Yeah. Man, like we just need to be able, like, again, going back on like how do we change these kinds of things in our society? We need to see more of it. If we see more of these kinds of different live life experiences as Black people, this is how we inform people. This is how we inform the world. Like, I remember watching Pose in 2018. Before that time, I didn't know anything about ballroom culture. Obviously, I knew the transgender people existed. I didn't know anything about ballroom culture. I didn't know anything about that scene that was happening in the 80s and going on to the 90s and the early 2000s. All that. I didn't know any of that. And I watched Pose, and it literally opened my eyes to a whole new, well, not new, but it was new to me, but it opened my eyes to this whole new section of Blackness and queerness that I had never seen before. And it was amazing. And I think it had the same kind of transformative experience on me that it had on so many other people. There were so many, that was the first time you ever had a show with Black transgender leads. And something like that was so, because there's so many misconceptions about that community. And that show was the first time that you actually had people of that community being able to speak in their voice, to tell their story authentically. And seeing that was so important. It's like, that can't end. When Pose ended after 3 seasons, which I think is criminal, it definitely could have had like 2 more seasons to that show. Ryan Murphy, I'm looking at you. But no, like I just, like, when that show ended, I was like, man, like this can't be the end. This can't be the last time we see these kinds of characters and these kinds of people. There needs to be more. So like, yeah, when it came to Captain Zero, I was like, bro, we need all of that. We need as much representation, as much authentic representation from these live life experiences of Blackness as possible. So yeah.
Jeremy G says, I'm ready for all the seasons. This will be an amazing show. Can't wait to see it.
Ooh, yes, it is going to be. We have 5 seasons of the show planned, 2 movies, 4 specials. It's gonna be a thing of legend. I'm telling you, man. Listen, when Captain Zero is done with its run, it's gonna be like, honestly, I tell people this all the time. Captain Zero is like my love letter to the superhero genre. Like, I know Marvel has movies now slated all the way into like 2032. Love that for them. But honestly, after Captain Zero, it's like, you guys really don't need to see a superhero anything ever again, because everything that could be talked about the superhero genre, the philosophical questions about it, the characters, the motifs, the tropes, all of that gets answered and more in Captain Zero. And plus, we go to these different places and we delve in different things that you would never see in any other show or project that talked about these kinds of things. Like, I love Marvel and I love everything that they're doing, but because it's made for a large audience and they're not primarily made by Black creators, you never have a Black person ever say nigga in any of, the Marvel. You can't.
Right. Yeah.
I understand why to an extent, but it's like we were saying earlier, that's not realistic.
That's really not
actually how Black people talk. Like, I know how Black people talk. I know the words that we use and how we speak to each other when we're in close proximity with one another and whatnot. And it's like, and in Captain Zero, you will see that. We will probably never see Miles say nigga, unfortunately.
That's so unfortunate.
We will probably never see that happen. You will see that with Xerxes. You will see that happen. You will see Black characters talking, interact with each other in this way. And again, like, more than just like use of the word, but again, talking about like that authenticity of actually being able to represent people how they actually are. So yeah.
Yeah. I can't stress enough how important it is to be like authentic with the representation. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with like specifically like with God Punch, I'm the chapter that I'm currently writing, not writing, doing the art for. Patrick has written this chapter already, but the chapter that I'm working, shout out to Patrick if you're watching, or
Gumbo Goon,
watch the Gumbo Goon himself. Yes. So this chapter that I'm currently working on, which is chapter 4, there's like an interaction between Percy and a new character that's getting introduced, and just like the banter between him and this character is so authentic. It's so like this is how a young black man or a black child from Louisiana would talk. Like. Yeah. Just I love smart that. Alec got witty responses, and stuff.
Yeah, like literally something that happened. Like one of my favorite scenes, and I mean, I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but not really. It's a light spoiler. It's a light spoiler.
Okay.
So something that happens in the first episode of Captain Zero. I'm not going to explain the context of what's happening, but Captain Zero and Daisy are having a conversation with one another, and Captain Zero is very passively listening. He sees something and he's like, I gotta go, and just hangs up the phone. He doesn't even say he has to go. He just hangs up the phone on Daisy. And then it cuts to Daisy inside like a room looking at her phone. She's like, I know this nigga did not just. And that's how a real conversation like that would happen. Like if I've had real conversations like this with my friends, with black women I talk to, that's actually how something like that would play out. And I'm like, I know when people see that, not only they're gonna laugh because it's hilarious, but it's like they're gonna be like, that's real. That's real. That's how an actual interaction like that would go down. So yeah, man, yes. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Kathy asks, what network do you want Captain Zero on?
Whoever gives us the highest bid with the most creative freedom.
No, that's right.
That's the network that we want it on. Yes. Whichever one of you guys want to be a part of history in the making and get on board to the next greatest animated series of all time, that one. Whichever one of you networks have the foresight to see that and know that, that's who I want to work with.
Yes. All right. Well, we got through all the comments. That's it.
Oh man,
that's all we got.
That was amazing. Are there any? I see there's still a couple of people that are watching live. If you guys have any additional questions you guys want to ask, drop them in the comments. We'll probably wait like a couple of minutes to see if anybody drops any additional questions. And yeah, after that, we'll probably just get ready to wrap it up. We've been here for 2 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, we've been here for a minute, but it's been great answering all these questions.
Yes.
You guys have been awesome. Your questions have been amazing. Ayinde, as always, your presence is great, amazing. Thank you for coming on, for moderating, for asking all these questions. I appreciate you.
Oh, shoot, man. You have me on here anytime. I'm happy to be here. It's always fun.
All right, yeah, I'm just waiting to see here if we're going to get any questions. I'm going to look mad off. I'm just waiting here. Mm-hmm. Is there any questions that you have while we wait to see if anyone has any additional questions?
Oh, me specifically, huh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of did ask them during the the interview. I made sure I was able to sneak them in there. Back off some other questions. Mm-hmm. We do have one. BioBlade says, "Good luck with this project. I'll be waiting with bated breath." Good vibes, emoji.
Good vibes. Thank you so much, BioBlade. Thank you for the consistency, the persistency. This person's been around for a minute, so shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. This is my sister. Great job, you guys. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Man, before we get out of here, I wanted to say a couple of words about God Punch and Blade Titans and what you guys are doing over at Studio Maho. I know this is a Captain Zero thing, but you guys are here and we're partners and we work together. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you guys about what you guys got going on, what you guys got down the pipeline. So yeah, man, let me know.
Well, shoot. Obviously, we got some animation in the works where there is something that we are dropping tomorrow that I cannot talk about. You gotta talk about that after. We will talk about that after. You might already know. I'm not sure. Because it was like last night when I found out about it. Well, some of it. I knew some of it beforehand, but tomorrow was Maho Day specifically. That is, yes. So we have some stuff to show for Maho Day because
that's gonna be dope.
It is. So normally, not normally, but last year we had an event, right, for Maho Day. Mm-hmm. And we had, it was an in-person event. We had people come and we had a space and it was great. That was when we announced that we were going to rebrand into Studio Maho. You know, and we had a sign that said God Punch that I had made from somewhere local, Laser Cut Co. Shout out to Laser Cut Co. They make great signs. We'll probably have another one made for another series sometime, you know, when we have another event. But anyway, because it falls around 4th of July weekend, and you know, AX is normally this weekend, which we're not going to this year, and kind of glad we're not going to this year. We just can't have an event around this time. You know, there's just too much going on, and people have a lot going on. So we'll probably have an event later in the year, you know, and that'll be the new date that we have an event. So, but we are dropping some stuff tomorrow.
Ooh, nice.
You know, so be on the lookout for that from our official accounts and whatnot. As far as God Punch, I'm currently working on chapter 4. I wanted it out before we got the DreamCon. You know, that was going to be the debut, but currently it's just me.
Gotcha.
You know, doing the artwork and whatnot. I have an assistant that hasn't started yet because I'm not to a specific point that I need to be at for him to start. But it's so long, you know. So you're basically getting a double chapter in chapter 4. You're getting 40 pages. That is the amount of pages that chapter 4 is. So don't worry, you know, you're getting 2 chapters worth of content in one.
That's dense. I mean, I'm sure the people will appreciate that.
Yes. So be on the lookout for that. Blade Titans chapter 2, definitely gonna you know, get into that this summer. Excuse me. Not sure when, because the schedule has changed a little bit with chapter 4 not being done before DreamCon, but we'll have chapter 4, we'll have chapter 5, and Blade Titans will probably come after chapter 5. But we've got trying to get a volume done, you know, by the end of this year. And I say by the end of the year, it's really going to be probably like beginning of next year is when it's really physically in my hand, you know. And that's going to be about 9 chapters long. So you guys get the full book. The first time we have a volume. It's going to be amazing.
That's going to be dope. I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait for y'all to see that, because it's, you know, the way we have the book designed, you know, that we want to do the covers, like themed covers and stuff like that. Like,
you guys got to let me do a variant cover.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
One variant cover.
Yes, that'll be like a special edition, you know, version of the first volume. That would be amazing. So we definitely got to do that. Yeah, so we'll do that. I think once we have a volume of God Punch, we'll probably go back to Blade Titans, try to get a volume of that out. But everything is really tentative right now. You know, it's a lot of stuff is going on at the same time. We got our animation department that we're trying to get off the ground, you know, and then we've got the mangas, both the manga series. I have some series that I'm writing. I have 12 now total that are in the bank. So Blade Titans is on that list, but there's 11 more after Blade Titans.
Got you.
I just finished writing a synopsis. I stayed up for 5 hours, got up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and was on my phone in the bed for about 5 hours, just typing away, doing research. You know, it's like a sci-fi time travel series. I didn't realize where all of the influences were coming from until I finished doing the synopsis or stopped where I was at. But you guys will definitely, you know, it's got like some multiverse stuff in there. It's got some, you know, traveling between different dimensions, alternate versions of characters and things like that. So
my favorite kinds of stories, man. I love it.
Yes. So that one's I'm really excited about. You know, I got I posted on Twitter. I have another series that's about spies called Hidden Triggers. The spies, I say spies, it's more like secret agents type, you know, organization. So I guess it's in the same vein, espionage, you know. Yeah. That one's, you know, I'm pretty excited about. That one's gonna be pretty fun. But I have some other series. So most of those series are not connected together. But I personally have some series that are in the same universe. They're in a shared universe. And there's like 3, I think, so far. One of them, the one I was just finishing, may possibly be a 4th that could tie into the universe. So we'll see how that goes. But I've talked about Black Lotus. That's my like series that I gotta get out. You know, like that's the one I've been working on since the original story that it came from in high school that I've incorporated into what it is now. So yeah, gotta have that out eventually, you know. So
gosh, yes.
But as far as like what we got going on, that's animation department. More God Punch, trying to get the volume out. Going to DreamCon obviously in a couple weeks. So, you know, if anybody's going to DreamCon, you'll see us there. We got our new poster that I just finished. The Sylvia, the Cosmic.
Oh yes, you guys, man. Oh my gosh, go to the Studio Maho page. That's literally like you guys are Studio Maho like across all social media platforms.
Yes, right? If you search Studio Maho, we should come up. Like on Twitter, it's just Studio Maho, but on Instagram, it's official Studio Maho because somebody already had.
God,
I hate it. They didn't want to give it to us, so.
I hate it when that happens. Listen, I went through the exact same thing when I was trying to make Captain Zero. I was like, that's the reason why it's Captain Zero TAS for the animated series.
Animated series, yeah.
But no, man, that is amazing. You guys definitely for sure go check them out at Studio Maho. Again, if you guys just search them up, you should be able to find them. They've got great, amazing things coming out. They've got a couple of chapters that you guys can go and buy right now from their website. Again, all that great stuff is going to be in the description. Again, if you want to support Captain Zero, the short film, this project, the link for that is also going to be in the description. And if you want to catch the live stream of the short film, I'm going to put that in the description as well. As always, it was a pleasure to speak to you, Ayinde. We definitely got to do this again sometime, man. Definitely.
100%. I mean, this could be a regular thing, you know.
You're really good, low-key.
Because whatchamacallit, Angela from Chromatic Black was saying, "Do you guys have a podcast?" And I was like, "We do not." But maybe we should.
That would be really
talk about all kinds of stuff we got going on.
Yeah, that would be really dope. So stay tuned, you guys. There might be more Studio Maho cutting edge animation stuff definitely coming down the pipeline. But thank you to everyone who tuned in to this live stream. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the comments. And more great stuff from Studio Maho and cutting edge animation coming out real soon. All right, you guys. See you soon.
Peace out.